The temperature 62 degrees. The sky is partly cloudy. The wind's not a factor. Southeast at 5. Humidity only 50%, and only a 30% chance of rain. Head coach Jim Moore of the Baltimore Stars. His team has won the toss and elected to receive. They'll move from our right to left, and on the other side is Pepper Rogers, the very vibrant head coach of the Memphis Showboats. Pepper enjoys his football and enjoys life in general. 9-11 overall record while here with the Memphis Showboats. And Alan Duncan set to kick off for the red and silver-clad Showboat team, one of only two unbeaten and untied teams in the USFL. Back to receive for the Baltimore Stars, Herbert Harris, Alan Harbin, and Garcia Lane. At the 10-yard line goes Harris, and it's a reverse to Garcia Lane. He's got some running room. Garcia Lane out of Ohio State has it first and 10 for the Baltimore Stars at their own 39-yard line.
Do they set this up, the Baltimore Stars? All right, now we're going to just take a look right here. This is Harris. He hands to Garcia Lane. The whole defense of the kicking team is shifted to his right and the left of the field, and Garcia Lane brings the ball out almost to the 40-yard line. That's beautifully executed. I'd love to see something happen in the opening play.
Oh, and this crowd of over 40,000, even though it happened to their team, Paul, they were a bit startled by it, too. First and 10 for the Baltimore Stars, their own 39-yard line. Chuck Cucina, the 8-year veteran out of Penn State at quarterback. He's throwing on first down, and he has his man, the tight end, Ken Dunnick, and Dunnick has the first down into Memphis Showboat territory at the 45. All right, the offense now for the Baltimore Stars. Chuck Cucina at quarterback. The starting running backs, Kelvin Bryant and Alan Harbin tonight. The offensive line will have tight end Ken Dunnick, Irv Eatman, right tackle, right guard Chuck Comiskey, center is Bart Oates, left guard will be Bill Dugan in place of the injured George Gilbert. Left tackle will be the rookie from North Carolina, Joe Conwell. It is first and 10 for the Baltimore Stars on the 44-yard line. I'm Tom Mees with Paul McGuire. Glad you could join us for USFL excitement on a Saturday night from Memphis. Bit of a mix-up on the snap, but Cucina controls it and has Alan Harbin out of the backfield, and Harbin is down at the 37-yard line of the Showboats. Mossy Cade made the tackle. Defensively, it'll be a three-man front for Pepper Rogers, Sam Clancy, and Reggie White, the defensive ends, while it'll be Paul Hanna, the nose tackle. The linebackers will be John Corker, Mike Whittington, Will Coakley, and Carlton Rhodes. The defensive backfield, Mossy Cade and Leonard Coleman, the two rookies and former #1 NFL draft picks. Barney Bussey, number 8, will see a lot of action tonight. Free safety is Ron Osborne, number 23. Second down and 3. Gain of 7 on that swing pass to the right flat to Harbin. Cucina straight back to throw. Got some time now. He's rushed, and Cucina has his man. It's the tight end Dunnick at the 35, coming in to put lots of pressure on Chuck Cucina for the Memphis Showboats, who is Carlton Rhodes, second-year man out of Michigan.
Remember now, the Baltimore Stars, they've started like this before in turnovers. Now, almost from the backside, here's Carlton Rhodes, the linebacker, blitzing Cucina. Almost in the grass, but he gets it out to Dunnick, and they don't pick up the first down. It'll be third and about 2, Tom, but it was heads-up play by Cucina.
And John Corker making the tackle to prevent the first down. Third down and 1. Ball resting on the Showboat, 35.
Memphis is a tough team to run on. They've got to pick up almost 2 yards.
To Kelvin Bryant, his first carry of the night, and Bryant has the first down easily. Gain of 3 or 4 yards on the play before Sam Clancy makes the initial tackle. Kelvin Bryant, Paul, is looking to get off to a good game. He has yet to score a touchdown, has yet to run for 100 yards in a game.
Well, they like to run the Comiskey side, 69, Irv Eatman, 75. Look at, they're going to that side. Dunnick, the blocker there, too. Harbin goes in, but you look at Kelvin Bryant. He cuts back to the left, goes over Oates to center. The hole was there. He picked up about 5 yards.
First and 10 for the Baltimore Stars at the Memphis 32-yard line. Bryant to Harbin behind Cucina. They're all out on pass patterns on this play, and Cucina has it complete. And out of bounds to his tight end, Dunnick. Barney Bussey tried for the interception, gambled and lost.
Well, the big problem is you've seen him throw the ball like 3 or 4 times now to Dunnick, and the reason that they're doing that, Tom, is that the defensive secondary, they're dropping way off. The linebackers are not flying to the outside. You see the linebackers are bunched in the middle? That leaves the man right out on Mossy Cade. Dunnick, that's the 3rd time Mossy Cade had to make the tackle. Twice on Dunnick and once on Alan Harbin.
Well, Cade tried for the interception. Barney Bussey made the tackle. At any rate, it's first and 10 for Baltimore on the 18-yard line, and the Stars are driving the football right at the Memphis Showboats. Going for the end zone is Cucina, and covered well is Scott Fitzke in the end zone. Mossy Cade had him on man coverage.
They also had a strong safety blitz with Barney Bussey, number 8, was blitzing on that play. And when you have that, you know, the safety's blitzing down there, Tom, you've got man-on-man coverage. And that's what that they try to do with Fusina, with Fitzke, is get one-on-one on the outside. And Fusina just threw the ball too far.
Brian Thomas into the game now for Coach Jim Mora. Brian Thomas, the excellent quick running back out of the University of Pittsburgh. He and Harvin are the running backs. Bryant has taken a seat. Wide receivers split to each side of the line of scrimmage. Here's the pitch out to Thomas. He fumbles the football and has to fall on it at the 22. Loses the handle, but I believe Baltimore, Fusina, trailing the play, made the recovery. And Paul, we were talking about it in the pregame. Turnovers have hurt Baltimore all year, and turnovers were almost the story there. Osborne was on top of the football, on top of the carrier.
Well, look at Thomas. Now, this toss is there. He is not looking at the ball, never got the handle. What you do now is fall on. He tried to do that, overran the ball, but you'll see Chuck Fusina come in. He knows what's been happening. He fumbled a couple of times himself last week, and they got the ball back. Remember what I said at the beginning, turnovers with this team. They've been able to move the ball in 2 games. They're 0-1-1, but they can't capitalize.
There you see a portion of the near sellout crowd at the Liberty Bowl tonight, over 40,000. Right, that fumble moves it back. It's 3rd and 14, and Chuck Fusina is confused on what the Showboats show him on defense. He's called timeout. With 11:13 to go in the first quarter, Memphis nothing, Baltimore nothing.
Still in pretty good field position. They're at the 22, but they've got almost 14 yards to go.
Kelvin Bryant back in the ball game. Alvin Harvin has taken a seat. 3rd and 14. The ball is on the Memphis 22-yard line. They have to get to the 8-yard line for first down. Fusina drops back to the 30 and fires for the end zone. Incomplete. He was looking for Willie Collier. He was looking for Collier, number 86. Collier tripped in the end zone.
Willie Collier was wide open going down the middle of the field, and the ball was thrown too far into the other side. He had to turn around when he did. That end zone is as hard as a rock. Here comes Willie Collier. Now watch. For some reason or other, they let him go right here. The corner lets him go. When they do that, here goes Collier to the outside. Look, at really no one around him. The only one, Osborne, was close, but could have never made the play.
All right, this brings up a field goal situation. David Trout is the field goal kicker. Tim Reardon, the backup quarterback, is the holder. The spot will be just inside the 30-yard line. That's called a 40-yard attempt, angle to the right. Snap is down, kick is up, and the kick is good. With 11:04 to go in the first quarter, the score, the Baltimore Stars 3 and the Memphis Showboats nothing, but Paul McGuire, the Baltimore Stars got the kickoff, had the reverse, drove down the field, and Memphis held them to 3.
But it's very important to Baltimore now, because remember what we talked about in the first 2 games. They had a problem.
Baltimore Stars have just put a field goal on the board. A 40-yarder by David Trout to take the early lead here in Memphis. I'm Tom Mees with Paul McGuire, USFL football, Baltimore Stars, and the Memphis Showboats, a crowd of over 40,000 in a very festive city on this Saturday night following the Memphis State Tigers' success in basketball. They come out to party and root on the 2-0 Showboats tonight, Paul, and Memphis dodged the bullet there, just giving up a field goal.
Well, I like the beginning when Baltimore on a kickoff return had a reverse set up and got the ball out to the 40-yard line. But they've been able to move the ball in the first 2 games. They have not won a game yet. And the problem was turnovers, and they had one fumble that they got back, fortunately, and they got the field goal. But it's important for Baltimore to put the points on the board early to let them know that they can not only drive the football, which they know, but they can also score with it.
David Trout kicking off. Whoa, we have an onside formation maybe here. That's what it is. David Trout trying to lift it over the front wall, and he does so, but it's recovered by the Memphis Showboats, so they'll have great field position on the 41-yard line. Will Coakley, number 58. Preliminary indication that he is the man that drifted back and caught that football.
Tom, what Baltimore's trying to do is get some spark in their football team. They have not played well for the first 2 games, and now they reverse on their opening kickoff and try an onside kick. I love it.
All right, Walter Lewis, the quarterback for Memphis. Running backs will be Leonard Williams and Harry Sidney. Split end will be Greg Moser. Tight end Mark Brown. Offensive line Robert Woods, Tyrone McGriff, Larry Rubens at center, David Huffman, the right guard, and Ron Mikulojic, the right tackle. And don't forget Derek Crawford, number 9, the wide receiver. And we'll be back with the first Memphis drive in a moment. On the the first play of the game, it's Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams carrying for the Memphis Showboats. He picks up about a yard. For the Baltimore Stars, the defense, front three, downfielder Pete Kugler and William Fuller. The linebacking core, George Jamison, who just made that tackle. Ron Crosby, or I should say George Cooper, not Ron Crosby. Mike Johnson and Sam Mills. Defensive secretary, Jonathan Sutton, Mike Lush, Garcia Lane, and Bill Hardy. Antonio Gibson will also see a lot of action in that defensive secondary. The doghouse defense, maybe the best defense when they're playing up to their capabilities in the USFL. Gain of 1 for Leonard Williams. It is 2nd down and 9. Walter Lewis straight back to throw. Got some time. He loves to run, and there he goes. Walter Lewis is chased out of bounds at the 46-yard line. William Fuller was one of the men running after him. And Mike Johnson also after Walter Lewis, Paul. And there we see his running dimension.
Well, you cannot give Walter Lewis this much time. Just take a look. This offensive line is doing a great job. Lewis does have time. He can't find his tight end. That's where he's looking for downfield. Now, you see Fuller chasing to the outside. Also, Johnson is coming across. Lewis just gets out of bounds. But that's good hustle by the defensive end, Fuller.
Greg Moser, who had such a good game Monday night against the Jacksonville Bulls, is split out to the lower part of your screen. Harry Sidney, Leonard Williams, the running backs. For Walter Lewis back to throw. He's under a ferocious rush, and down he goes at the 40-yard line as Moore, number 91, for the Baltimore Stars, makes the tackle. Buddy Moore, out of Eastern Kentucky University. He's a big one, 6'5", 252. And this will bring up a punting situation.
Again, you got to contain Walter Lewis, and they did it that time.
Jim Miller, the punter out of Ole Miss, he has 4 kicks already this year inside the 20-yard line. So he knows how to place that football. And Garcia Lane in single safety as the punt returner. Miller, a low line drive shot. Garcia Lane at the 10. He's got some room to operate. Garcia Lane gets a block, and he's up to the 30-yard line, where the Baltimore Stars will have it 1st down and 10. With 9:23 to go in the first quarter, our score, Baltimore 3, Memphis nothing. All right, 1st and 10 for the Stars, their second possession of the night. They had a 40-yard field goal by David Trout on their first possession. From the 30-yard line, Fusina to the air, and over the 35 to the 36, the big tight end, Ken Dunnick. Rod Osborne on the tackle, and Dunnick has been a busy man tonight.
Well, they're trying to cover Dunnick one-on-one, and Dunnick is from here, remember? He loves it. All right, here comes Calvin. We'll watch Calvin single back in the offense, triple formation. He's blocking. Look at that job. He picks up the linebacker Coakley coming in. Coakley's fine, and then we see Dunnick. Now watch, you're going to see Osborne covering him. He's there, but the ball's thrown away. Dunnick makes a good play. It's now 2nd down and about 4.
And Ken Dunnick might have told Jim Moore, hey, get me the ball tonight. I went to Memphis State University. I played in this stadium in college. Here's Calvin Bryant spinning away from one tackler, but then he is hemmed in up at the 38-yard line. Will Coakley, who was blocked by Bryant on the previous play, comes in and puts him down short of the 1st down marker. And Coakley is on the ground
again.
That's
the 2nd time. Now here comes Calvin Bryant. Now watch the spin he makes. Quick move right there. Hand of number 60. Almost had the tackle. Coakley comes in. I don't know where Coakley got hit. It looks like his head just snapped back when he hit Calvin Bryant. That's a good spin move. He picked up 2 yards.
Calvin Bryant, Paul, has increased his upper body strength. Jim Moore was telling me in training camp that he had the best offseason as far as weight training that he's seen Calvin have, and he's in the best shape of his career, and Will Coakley is a little groggy.
He's putting his head, he just looks like, he got his bell rung a little bit. I love to use that when they put the 3 fingers up in the guy's face and he says, how many? And he says, Thursday.
Coming in to replace Coakley, Mike Whittington. 6'2", 220 pounds out of Notre Dame. So Will Coakley in this very hard-hitting football game is the first casualty. 3rd down and 2, big play coming up for the Baltimore Stars. Jeff Rodenberger out of Maryland, number 34, is the man in motion. Just into the game as a blocker. They give it to Bryant. And Calvin Bryant gets away from the tackle and has the 1st down up at the 45-yard line. Mossy Cade finally brings down the elusive Bryant.
Calvin is running the way Calvin Bryant knows how to run. That time the play wasn't there. Look at Dunnick now. Here's the tight end. Not only can he catch the football, but look at the man blocking on the outside. That's on Carlton Rose, number 91. Dunnick does his job. Now watch what Calvin does. He goes to his left, no hole. So let's just move it back to the right where there is a hole, and I'll pick up the 1st down on that side.
He's a great ad-lib runner. 1st down and 10 up at the 45-yard line. Baltimore Stars have looked good on their first 2 offensive drives. Brian Thomas into the game at tailback. Fake to Thomas. Fusina to throw. He's got his man Fitzke, but that was a bad throw because even had Fitzke caught that ball, he would have been well out of bounds. Mossy Cade and Barney Bussey were double covered.
Scott Fitzke, he's a pleasure to watch as a receiver because he doesn't have tremendous speed, but he has great moves. He knew where the sideline was. He tried to get his feet down. Kusina just didn't put the ball on target. Now remember, he does have a bad hand, but he says it's getting better. It may be like 90% now.
It'll be second down and 10 after the incompletion. 7:14 to go in the first quarter of play. Baltimore Stars, defending champions, looking for their first victory here in 1985. And the wave has started at the Liberty Bowl. Kusina's back to throw. Over the middle, he's got his man. That's Alan Harbin. And Harbin's got the first down inside the Memphis 45 to the 42-yard line. The slippery one out of the University of Cincinnati is brought down by Leonard Coleman.
First of all, you've got to have good blocking when you run a play-action pass. And he fakes to Calvin Bryant. Look at the blocking in the line. There's going to be a little breakdown to the right side, but the ball's already gone. Alan Harbin. Now, once he gets the football, he's looking for help downfield. He knows he has some more yardage to pick up a first down. That's hustle.
First and 10 for the Stars, who lead at 3-0. They're at the Memphis 42.
Triple formation again. Look for the tight end.
Harbin's in the slot at the top of the screen. It's a pitch out to Calvin Bryant. He's got big Herb Eatman out in front of him, but Herb Eatman can't block the whole defensive line. And John Corker and Reggie White run Calvin Bryant out of bounds, and there's a flag on the play.
Herb Eatman, I love Herb, who he's blocking. Herb picked the right guy. He picked on Barney Bussey, number 8, who was the safety, and forgot about the defense.
That's a mismatch physically.
Well,
number 75 on the offense.
Yeah, and he had to hold him, Paul.
Yeah. He picked out the right guy. Let's see, I'll take the small guy. And Herb is a great blocker. I'm only teasing because I saw how big he is, and he can beat me up.
Tom White, the referee, making the call. And that will force the Baltimore Stars back into their own territory at the 49-yard line. And again, a mistake has stalled the Star drive.
That triple formation is really good for Baltimore because what happens when you do that and put that wing out on the tight end, that means that the safety man's going to have to cover the tight end one-on-one.
First and 20 now for the Baltimore Stars at their own 49. Victor Harrison has entered the ball game. Kusina hands off to Harbin on a delay, and Harbin is brought down at the 49-yard line of Memphis after a 2-yard gain. Mike Whittington, who came into the game a few plays ago, makes the big stop. It'll be 3rd and 18. This crowd is pumped up for this ball game in Memphis tonight. Carlton Rose leaving the game for Memphis.
Well, they're going with Baltimore's going with 3 wide receivers: Victor Harrison, 84, Collier, 86, and Scott Fitzke, number 81. No, excuse me, it's not 81, Fitzke.
Yeah, Fitzke's 81.
Is he? Yeah, but I mean, he's not in there.
I stand corrected. It is second down and 18. Second and 18 from the Memphis 49. Kusina has his man. It is complete to Harris. Number 84, Herbert Harris. Mossy Cade and Barney Bussey there to bring him down along with Ron Osborne. But Herbert Harris, who was a dangerous man on kick returns, was a dangerous man in the flat that time.
When you blitz and you send a lot of people, you end up with a one-on-one. Now, there's Harris coming downfield. He's going to be covered one-on-one. That's Mossy Cade, number 3. He ran him off, came back, and the thing you keep in mind, what Harris did so well on this pass play is you know you've got to pick up almost 20 yards. Let's get half of it and worry about the second half on the next play.
Gain of 12 on that play, Paul. It is 3rd down and 6 from the Memphis 38. Chuck Kusina throwing the ball very, very well tonight. He's got some time. He's going long and well short of the intended receiver. That was Scott Fitzke, who was covered like a blanket by Mossy Cade, and Denver Rogers is happy. So, the Baltimore Stars are stalled, and we're going to see one of the best punters in the United States Football League, Sean Landeta, for the first time tonight. We're going to have a feature on this young man at halftime, Paul.
Well, Sean told me that he can hit the ball about the 10-yard line, and he turns the ball a little bit sideways, and he can make the ball go either left or right or back up, and it doesn't go forward. We'll find out.
Derek Crawford back in single safety, number 9. He's the speedster out of Memphis State.
I'd kick it out of bounds to the left if I were you.
Now, the Showboats aren't so sure he's going to kick it at all the way they're lining up. It is a high kick, and I believe this is going to find the end zone with ease. It does. It is over the goal line into the end zone for a touchback. Memphis will have it 1st and 10 at the 20, but we return in a moment. Exclusive live USFL action continues on ESPN Monday, March 11, as the Jacksonville Bulls travel to Arizona to meet the Outlaws. The Bulls get the edge on offense with 2 Heisman Trophy running backs. And Mike Rozier and Archie Griffin. More about that game in a moment. 1st and 10 for the Memphis Showboats, and Walter Lewis has his man for a first down at the 38-yard line. That's the tight end, Mark Rao, who last year played with the Pittsburgh Maulers. So a big play to start the second drive of the night for the Showboats. 1st and 10 at the 39.
All that play action pass does, Tom, is it freezes the linebackers. And when you can hold the linebackers and get your tight end beyond the linebackers in front of the safeties, you can complete those 12 to 15-yard passes.
Give is to the running back. That is Harry Sidney, who most of the time is used as a big blocker back there. Sidney picks up a couple of yards. For Sam Mills, the diminutive one out of Montclair State, makes the stop. Sam Mills, number 54. One of the classic reasons why the USFL has been so good to players. Mills had some tryouts in the National Football League. A lot of people said he's too small. All he's done is become an all-league performer in the United States Football League. 2nd down at 7. They give Harry Sidney a gain of 3 on that play. Sidney Leonard Williams, number 20, is the leading running back in the Eastern Conference. He's only carried once tonight. Lewis wants to throw. He's got his man, Derek Crawford. Derek Crawford is out of bounds at the Baltimore 23-yard line. Garcia Lane was clearly beaten on that play down the sideline.
You got to believe that Garcia Lane thought he had some help short by Mike Lush, the free safety, because Derek Crawford was wide open to the outside. Now look at Walter Lewis. He's looking off to his right. Now he's looking for Derek Crawford. And he sees when Crawford breaks to the outside, look where Garcia Lane, you see Lush there, he's supposed to be short. Garcia Lane is supposed to be deep. He didn't get back there. Crawford beats him, and here goes Memphis.
All right, 1st and 10 on the Baltimore 23-yard line. Stars lead it 3-0 on a Trout field goal. The give is to Leonard Williams. Williams is hemmed in very nicely back at the 25-yard line by a host of Stars, including linebacker Mike Johnson, number 98, second-year man out of Virginia Tech.
Yeah, but did you notice the other 2 guys that ran on the tackle? Mike Lush, 27, and Antonio Gibson, the safety, the strong and free safeties, and they were in the backfield. And what they're doing, as soon as they read run, Antonio Gibson, the strong safety, is getting up in almost on the line of scrimmage. When he reads run, he's gone. He's forcing.
Jim Mora, hoping his doghouse defense can dig in here, prevent the Showboats from scoring a touchdown on what has been a very impressive drive. 2nd and 12. Lewis, a short drop. He's under pressure, and he was hit and intercepted. Intercepted for the Stars by William Fuller out of North Carolina, and Fuller is dragged down at the Memphis 40-yard line. Oh, my.
I'm not laughing. William, I'll tell you, I love it. When you see, anytime you see a lineman get an interception, first of all, Walter Lewis is going to get nailed from the backside. He's just getting ready to throw, and this ball's going to be popped right there. That's Sam Mills, 54. William Fuller. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Leonard Williams tackles him, but look at the load he's got to carry. You think his legs are getting like lead now? He's getting a little heavy. He said, wait a minute.
He's 6'4", 250-pound second-year man out of North Carolina. Was the Stars' top territorial draft pick last year. Okay, big break for Baltimore. Stopping a Memphis drive. They have it 1st and 10 on the Showboats 39. So the Showboats make the big turnover. Fusina off the play fake. Has a man down the sideline. So that's Kelvin Bryant. Kelvin Bryant inside the 10 to the 7-yard line. 1st and goal for Baltimore. Ron Osborne brings him down.
I'll tell you, Barney Bussey's on the outside, and he's hurt, and he's the man that almost had a shot at Kelvin Bryant. But for you young players out there, backs coming out of the backfield, you want to see concentration, you're going to see it now by Kelvin Bryant. Look where this ball is thrown. You see the throws are there. Here comes Bussey. He's the only one that has a shot. Kelvin's not even worried about the defender. He's just going to make the play, and he gets downfield. Now he's at the 6-yard line. Bussey almost got there, went for the interception to knock the ball down, but Kelvin, total concentration. That's beautiful.
You know, that was a beautiful play by Bryant. It's 1st and goal at the 6 for Baltimore, but Paul, I thought that Bryant may have put his right foot out around the 12. A minute 43 to go in the first quarter. Baltimore leads it 3-0. 1st and goal at the 6-yard line after that pass completion from Chuck Fusina to Kelvin Bryant, and Barney Bussey, Paul, left the field holding his left wrist, and he will be replaced by John Arnaud.
That's a big loss for Memphis. Anytime you lose a starter, it's a big loss. But, you know, when you're on a drive like Memphis was, they got to complete a pass. They were moving the ball well, and a quick turnover. The Baltimore Stars know what that means.
Showboat crowd yelling, defense, defense. The give is to Calvin Bryant, and Bryant is stopped after a gain of a yard, maybe a yard and a half. John Corker, who played so well the last 2 years with the Michigan Panthers, makes the stop.
John Corker, Tommy, came from the backside to make the tackle. I mean, he came right down the line of scrimmage. Here's the blocking in the line. Kaminsky and Irv Eatman. There's Alan Harvin. But C-53 Corker, here he comes down the line of scrimmage. And Calvin Bryant hadn't made it to the line of scrimmage yet because he hit him at the 6.
Well, he fell forward, a gain of almost 2. It'll be second down and goal from the 4-yard line. Under a minute to play now in the first quarter.
Roll out.
Backs are in the eye. It's Harvin and Bryant. Herbert Harris in motion. The pitch out to Bryant. Student body right. Calvin Bryant, touchdown, Baltimore. Calvin Bryant, a 4-yard run, his first touchdown of the 1985 season, and you know that's got to make that old pro real happy.
It really does. I'll tell you what makes him even happier is when you start running to your right on a toss, and the first man that even lays a hand on you is at the goal line. You know your offensive line, they're coming after him. Look at the left of your screen. Watch the offensive line. Kaminsky, Oates, and Eatman, they're blocking. You see Calvin in the background there, but watch, before he's touched right there at the goal line, really not touched at all.
Now, Mike Whittington was the guy who tried to touch him. He actually missed the tackle, but he never had a shot. And David Trout comes on to attempt the extra point. A touchdown coming with 46 seconds left to go in the first quarter. The Baltimore Stars looking very impressive offensively tonight. The extra point is true. And with 46 seconds left to go in the first quarter of play from Memphis, the Baltimore Stars 10, the Memphis Showboats nothing. We'll be back in a moment. Crawford, number 9, the second-year man, hometown man out of Memphis State University, is back at his own 3. And Paul, the Memphis Showboats know now the frustration the Stars have had the first 2 weeks. They run the drive, they made the big turnover, and it turned out for a touchdown for the other team.
Exactly.
Derek Crawford gets it 5 yards deep in the end zone, and he's a wise young man. He'll down it first and 10 at the 20.
All right, let's take a look at the touchdown. Now, first of all, take a look at the right side. Number 80, Dunnick, is going to get a block, and I'll get back to Kaminsky and Eatman in a minute. But look at Dunnick. Now, he's blocking on the outside on Carlton Rose. He just drives him completely out of the picture. Okay, Whittington gets a hand on Calvin. He's already in. Now, here's the one I want to watch. Let's watch 69 to 75. Right there, freeze it. Look at their shoulder to shoulder. There's just no way for anybody to get through there. And all Calvin's doing is looking at 75's jersey. He's into the end zone touchdown. That's beautiful.
He knew he had a touchdown the moment he got the handoff, didn't he?
Right.
Your eyes light up. Give me that football. I think you or I could have run that in.
No.
No, let's not go that far. First and 10 for the Showboats on the 20-yard line after the touchback. They've been pretty successful on first downs this year. Flag on the play as Leonard Williams takes the handoff, and he is snowed under after about a half-yard gain. A host of Stars on that play. Antonio Gibson getting up. About 5 or 6 people made the tackle.
I got a feeling that one of the offensive linemen pulled out a little bit too soon. Wait a minute, we'll see. No, Jeff.
Rule dead. Ball start. Left guard on the offense. Still first down.
Dead ball foul.
Tyrone McGriff, number 68. Yeah, he pulled out, and that play should stop right there. Anytime an offensive lineman moves, after they're in a set position, they can't come out of it.
There's Tyrone McGriff, big number 68, 4-year man out of Florida A&M. He had the distinction, Paul, being the very last man drafted by the Steelers a few years ago.
Watch this, and I'll tell you something. It was not him. It was Robert Woods, number 79 on the top side that moved. It was a 68. Sorry, Tyrone.
First and 10 for the Showboats, rather first and 15 for the Showboats from their 15-yard line. Lewis barks out the signals looking for a receiver. He's got his man. That is the tight end, the veteran Gary Shirk. Gain of 10 yards up to the 25. Gary Shirk, who started his pro career in the World Football League right here at Memphis. George Jameson made the tackle.
It's a strange defense because they're blitzing the strong safety and they're moving the free safety, which is Mike Lush, over to the tight end. That's the end of the quarter.
And with that play, the first quarter has come to an end with a score. The Baltimore Stars 10 and the Memphis Showboats nothing.
You've heard of guys being double teamed. Now you're going to see Pete Kugler going to get triple teamed by the center and 2 guards. Watch 67. Now the right guard is Huffman. He's going to get there. Rubens is the center, number 51, and also Tyrone McGriff, and that's tough duty.
It sure is. Second down and 5 for the Memphis Showboats after that 10-yard completion to Gary Shirk to end the first quarter. Lewis on the play fake. Got a man open, but the pass is a bit too high and may have been intercepted. George Cooper, number 56, comes up with it at the Showboat 38-yard line. Garcia Lane was on the coverage, but the pass ball, McGuire, for the intended receiver was way too high for Derek Crawford.
Yeah, but you've got to give Derek Crawford the effort, and watch this. Now, Garcia Lane, he knows he can't intercept the ball, but watch what he does. The defensive back, he goes up and slaps the ball out of his hands. George Cooper, 56, is hustling. He gets the interception. But that is a great play by both of these players. Not only the offensive player, watch this. Crawford, he goes up high, and Lane can't catch it, so he's going to knock it away. And here comes Cooper diving, makes the interception.
Well, again, the turnover bug has stricken, but it hasn't stricken the Baltimore Stars like it has in the first 2 weeks. It has stricken the Memphis Showboats. 1st and 10 for the Stars at the Memphis 37. And here they go to Kelvin Bryant again. Bryant inside the 35 to the 33-yard line. Sam Clancy is over in the general area for the Showboats, with a host of other support people to knock him out.
What little yardage he got a block from Irv Eatman, number 75. Now you watch, you see the big tackle pulling out. He's going to get a block right in front of Calvin Bryant. Comiskey's out there. There's the block right there where he knocks 2 people out of the way. When he does that, Calvin gets a little room to the outside, not a whole lot. Arnott is the man that brings him down. A great block by Eatman, pulling from the right to the left.
And there is George Cooper, the man who scooped that ball up before it hit the turf. 6'2", 226 out of Michigan State. Gain of 4 for Bryant on that sweep left. 2nd down 6. And Kelvin is the only setback behind Fusina. Fusina out to the flat. He's got Scott Fitzke, and Fitzke turns Mossy Kate around and fumbles the football. Big pile up at the 21-yard line. We'll wait for the official indication. Bart Oates appears to have fallen on the football. Number 50, the center, gets out there and recovers the fumble.
All right, he's working one-on-one out here on Mossy Cade. Now, he does a great job breaking to the outside. Why, after he catches the ball, he'll turn inside. Now, why he cuts back into Mossy Cade, I don't know. But Mossy Cade hits him, the ball pops out. Here's a center hustling downfield. Bart Oates, after blocking at the line of scrimmage, recovering a ball at the 21.
And it's 1st and 10 for Jim Moore's Baltimore Stars, and he's got to be a happy man, Paul. The breaks are going his way.
You bet. When you see players hustling like that, he knows that his team, they're tired of being beaten.
We were staying in the Stars Hotel in Memphis, and they were breathing fire getting onto the team bus. And the Memphis defense breathed fire on Alan Harbin. Carlton Rose is in there, and Williams is in there as well. John Corker also on the play. A whole host of Showboat tacklers in red and silver make the stop. Loss of 1 for Alan Harbin. 2nd in total defense of the Showboats, giving up only 222 yards a game. But Paul, in the first quarter alone, the Baltimore Stars passed for 102 yards.
Doesn't that tell you something?
Yes, it does. 2nd down and 11. On the 22 of Memphis. They're playing about an 8-man line. They're rushing Fusina, and it's going to pay off. Fusina is dragged down. It could have been a lot worse. But Reggie White, the Minister of Defense out of Tennessee, brings Fusina down.
Actually, the first guy there was Steve Hammond, number 54, as the linebacker. Now watch Hammond right to the left of the center. Bart Oates can't take both of them. No one there to block because there was only one back in the backfield. He does flush him out, and then Reggie White makes the tackle.
Steve Hammond did not start tonight's ball game. He was put in on this last series. Loss of 4 more yards, and all of a sudden the Stars aren't sitting as pretty as they were a moment ago. 3rd and 15 for the Memphis 26. They have to get down to the 11. Bryant the only setback. 5 men out on the pass pattern. Fusina hits Harris out of the backfield, and it's down to the 19-yard line, well short of the first down. Mike Thomas and Leonard Coleman there to drag down Herbert Harris, number 84.
All he had to do was look to his right. I know it's easy being up here, but if he'd have looked to his right, he had Kelvin Bryant coming out of the backfield after he checked the block, and he went to the outside because Corker was rushing. He was wide open.
Ball at the 18-yard line, and the drive is stalled, so David Trout is in to attempt his 2nd field goal of the night. His first one in the first quarter was good from 40 yards. This will be a 26-yard, make that a 36-yard attempt. It'll be put down at the 26-yard line. Angle is to the left. Snap is down. Kick is up, and the kick is no good. It is wide to the left, so the Showboat defense is held. Tom White says the kick is no good. With 10:39 to go in the second quarter, our score, the Baltimore Stars 10, the Memphis Showboats nothing. Next Saturday night, the San Antonio Gunslingers at the LA Express. 1st and 10 for the Memphis Showboats. Harry Sidney lugs the football up to the 25-yard line. Line of scrimmage was on the 20, so a gain of 5 for Sidney. Mike Johnson makes the tackle. And Paul McGuire, another game going on in the USFL tonight. And the Orlando Renegades are giving Raleigh Dodge and the Birmingham Stallions fits. Birmingham leads it, but only 17-10 in the third quarter at Orlando.
And that's surprising to me, too, because Orlando is the worst team in the league against the rush, and you know Birmingham can run the football, so Orlando may be putting it together.
Well, Lee Corso obviously has his troops up for that game. 9:50 to go in the first half here, and the Showboats are trying to put some points on the board. Harry Sidney fumbles the football, but he recovers his own fumble. It'll remain Memphis ball, but not in the same field position. He lost 2 or 3 yards.
Pepper's looking at it from the sideline saying, you know, it's happened to this team, and look at now it's starting to happen to my team. This team here, we're going to show you a graphic later on about this team here that, you know, they were like +4 in the giveaway takeaway situation. In Baltimore, they were a -5. That's a shift of 9, and it's all happening to Memphis tonight.
They're down in 6 after the fumble. Sam Mills forced the fumble, but Sidney recovered it. The give is to Leonard Williams, and Williams knifes through for a few yards, but short of the first down. Sam Mills brings him down at the 29-yard line, and it'll be 4th down and 1. Now, Pepper Rogers likes to gamble, but not in this situation. Jim Miller will come in to punt the football away.
Oh, no, you don't gamble here. Let's take a look at the blocking, and that's Huffman, number 56. He gets he gets a piece of the man, and that's all he really has to do. When you get a piece of someone on the inside, that's enough.
Jim Miller back to punt. Garcia Lane is in single safety, standing at his own 30-yard line. John Corker will handle the snaps on punts, and we have a whistle and a timeout called by the Memphis Showboats, or is it the referee? It is the Showboats. Charge to Memphis.
Well, they have to. They didn't have enough people on the field. You can't. You're making mental errors now.
With 8:36 to go in the first half of play, our score: the Baltimore Stars 10, the Memphis Showboats nothing.
Watch out for the block.
And it looks like Baltimore is going to try and put some heavy heat on Jim Miller. Nobody's dropping back. Here they come. He gets it away, though, in good stead, and Garcia Lane is fading back to his 21. Cuts to the right. Now back to the middle. He is planted at the 35-yard line. I tell you, he was bombed by number 52 of the Showboats, Mike Whittington. The fans are enjoying this game in Memphis, even though their team trails 10. 1st and 10 for the Baltimore Stars at their own 35-yard line. Chuck Fusina going long down the sideline for Herbert Harris, who almost makes a miraculous catch. But covering on the play was Mossy Kane, the rookie out of Texas, who was with Harris step for step down the sideline.
You know what? If you see this throwing the ball well, watch this. Look at this offensive line blocking. That's Eatman on White. He's got Kaminsky to his inside, and he's also holding his shirt. Then Harris goes up in the air. Good timing on the ball. Mossy Kane, you got to understand something. He's fading the other way into the receiver, and also good coverage.
Chuck Fusina, Paul, 10 of 14 tonight for 117 yards, and we still have 8 minutes to go in the first half of play.
Don't forget about Dunnick.
2nd down and 10. The give is to Kelvin Bryant. Kelvin Bryant is close to the first down near the 44-yard line. Paul Hanna, the nose tackle, brings him down.
Well, we saw Reggie White getting blocked at the line of scrimmage by Irv Eatman. Now let's look at the pass protection, or the run blocking. All right, here they come, and he's getting cut down by Alvin Harvin. Alvin Harvin in the backfield, got him right at the knees. All you have to do is cut him. Good job by the fullback.
Allen Harvin weighs 205 pounds, Reggie White 284. But Harvin did the intelligent thing on that play. 3rd down and 1 to go. And the give is to Kelvin Bryant. Flag on the play. Bryant has the first down with plenty to spare, but hold on. Mossy Cade making the tackle on Kelvin Bryant, who almost broke that play. Let's listen to Tom White, the referee.
It's offside by the defense.
Encroachment.
Yeah.
Right defensive end. Penalty is declined. 1st down.
Reggie White, the guilty party.
The old encroachment trick.
He was offside, right?
Sure.
They called it encroachment. That always bugged me. Why don't they call it what it really is, and that's offside?
Well, not if you line up in that area.
Ball's up at the 49-yard line. Pepper Rogers, never a dull moment on the Memphis sidelines with him. So that gives the Stars the first down at the 49. Over 40,000, a near sellout tonight at the Liberty Bowl. Not every seat is sold, but darn near every seat. They love the Showboats in Memphis. Bryant Thomas, number 30, has entered the game for the Stars in the backfield. Makey Thomas, Fusina over the middle. He has his man, the tight end Dunnick, but Dunnick is brought down after a gain of maybe 3 yards. John Corker making the hit. And wow, did he cork Dunnick.
Well, they're going to give Dunnick where he was tagged first, and it's going to be almost a 6-yard game, Tom. Take a look at it now. Like I said before, don't forget your tight end. If he'll get you 5 and 6 every time, Dunnick's there, and Mr. Corker's there. Now, you see he drives him back. They don't spot the ball there. The referee spotted it right. Brought it all the way to the 45-yard line.
It is about 4 yards short of the first down. Pickup of 6. Right yard ball. It's 2nd down and 4. And the backs in the I formation, Harvin and Thomas. Give is to Bryant Thomas. And Thomas, the BT Express, they call him at the University of Pittsburgh, is near the first down. John Corker and Mike Whittington make the stop.
He's got it. I think he's got it by about half the ball.
Well, referee Tom White is convinced that it's close enough to bring on the chain gang. I believe he's called a referee's timeout, looks at the sidelines and says, what, we're going to have the chains come in? I'm not sure. So the chains will come in, yeah.
These guys, they have to walk up and down a couple times. It's in their contract. I mean, they're local guys, but they got to get out on the field so their family can see them.
Well, they get some TV time here.
Don't make it by half the ball.
6:03 to go in the first half.
Half the ball? The whole ball. It's close.
You need your eyesight check. He said half the ball. 1st and 10, and they'll mark it at the Memphis 41-yard line. Team defense, well, Memphis right at the top coming into this game, Paul.
They are a much improved football team. They really are. They're a good football team, solid defensively. And the mistakes again, Tom, we're going back to that. Turnovers, and there's nothing you can do as a coach. All you do is pull your hair out. Pepper doesn't have a whole lot to pull out, but he can still do that.
1st and 10, Baltimore, Memphis 41-yard line. Fusina has a lot of time in the pocket, and out on the flat he has Allen Harvin, who drops the football. Perhaps he heard some footsteps by John Arnaud, number 21, but Paul, he just didn't look that into his hands.
No, he did not, and I'm going to tell you something. When they look at the film, he's going to get something chewed out. You know what that is. I'm going to tell you right now, the guy, you've got to look at the football, and this ball is put right out there. Here comes Chuck Fusina. Now watch him. He is looking to the outside, and then he sees Harvin. Nice follow through. He steps up. He knows he should catch the ball. Look at his reaction. Catch the ball if I'm going to throw it to you. Here it comes again. Take a look at it, and it's to the outside. He hits Harvin right in the hands. He stops. He's looking downfield instead of looking at the football, and that's Arnaud, 21 there.
Incomplete, makes it 2nd and 10, and here comes Kelvin Bryant, and Bryant is brought down for no gain. Sam Clancy, the former basketball player at the University of Pittsburgh and played in the NFL with Seattle. Last year with the Pittsburgh Maulers, Clancy brings him down.
Clancy made a great play because if Kelvin Bryant would have gotten by Clancy, he would have had some open field to run with. Clancy got off the blocker and made the tackle at the line of scrimmage. Just good heads-up play by the defensive end.
Said he was a basketball player. He was a good one at Pitt. He was the #1 draft pick of the Phoenix Suns.
He just slam dunked Kelvin.
He sure did. Gain of 1 for Bryant, 3rd down and 9. Ball on the Memphis Showboat 40. Showboat stunning on defense. Fusina under a rush. Chuck Fusina gets rid of the football. He just threw that ball away. Herbert Harris came back to him, but Fusina was being pursued by Sam Clancy and Reggie White.
Chuck Fusina is learning because a lot of times he will take the sack instead of throwing the ball away, but he did have Herbert Harris coming back towards him. Now watch Fusina. They flush him out of the pocket. Sam Clancy, number 90, is on the backside coming after him. He's there. Conwell didn't block Sam Clancy. Look at the speed of Clancy for the big defensive lineman, and Fusina does throw the ball away. Smart play by him.
So Sean Landetta will try and pin the Showboats deep. He'll get this ball off from about midfield on the punt.
Kick it out of bounds to the left.
Well, let's see if he takes your advice. You want to know a little bit about punting. He's going out of bounds to the left, but I don't know how long it's going to be. It bounces inside the 20, out of bounds at around the 17-yard line. That's where the Memphis Showboats will have it 1st and 10. Sean Landetta may have gotten a charitable spot on that punt. I could have sworn that thing went out of bounds right at the 17. They put it back to the Memphis 14.
I think you're right. I know my eyes aren't that bad.
But anyway, it's 1st and 10 deep in Memphis territory for the Showboats. Pitch out to Tim Spencer, who's just come in the ball game, and a 1,000-yard rush pressure last year for the then Arizona Wranglers. Rumbles around the right side of the 20-yard line where Mike Johnson and George Jameson put him down.
Johnson and Jameson does, but I'll tell you what a free safety loves to see, and that's when he gets a back like Spencer up in the air. There's a flag on that play. Watch number 27 come in at the end. Now, Jameson's there, Johnson's there. Now look at Lush, 27. Just a little pop.
And the penalty is going to be against the Baltimore Stars. The flag was dropped in the vicinity of the 20-yard line where Tim Spencer went to the turf. Tom White is measuring it to see if the penalty will mean first down, and it will. 5-yard penalty.
Move the chains.
Ball placed at the 25. What is it?
Make the number on the face mask. Number 67. First down.
So a face mask on the tackle by Pete Kugler, the nose tackle of the Baltimore Stars.
I didn't see him in there.
I didn't either, but Tom White did, or somebody did. First and 10 for Memphis at their own 24. Max in the eye, and carrying the football is Leonard Williams, and Williams doesn't do much business. He stopped basically for no gain on the play. Sam Mills hit him like a truck, number 54. He's the man getting up off the ground.
Tom, you know, I'm seeing a formation now where you put two wideouts on one side and the tight end close on the other side. I don't like the formation for the simple reason it brings your two corners. Here they come again. They'll bring your two corners over there. You're not splitting up the defense. If you want to split the defense up, you put a wideout on either side. Now you got your toughest men covering your best men.
Now they have two wideouts, both to the bottom of the screen, the left side, but they give the ball instead to the Showboats to Tim Spencer, and Spencer is brought down by Mike Johnson just about for no gain. They're going to give him a yard and bring up 3rd and 7.
Here's what I'm talking about. You see the two wideouts out there. There's Crawford and Moser. They're both there. Now you've got your two best players, Garcia Lane and Jonathan Sutton, the corner and the safety, or two corners playing them. So you're really not spreading the defense out. Now you got the safeties that can jam things in the middle. Now they've got three wideouts.
That's right. Derek Crawford is split at the bottom of your screen there, and two wideouts at the top of the screen. They're down and 7 at the 27. Long count by Walter Lewis. Lewis steps up in the pocket and throws the football under duress, and the catch is not made. Back there on the coverage was George Cooper. He batted the ball away. Leonard Williams, the intended receiver. And Pete Kugler was putting pressure on Walter Lewis.
Well, I'll tell you, Walter Lewis showed me some athletic ability because Kugler was all over Walter Lewis, and he still hit his running back coming out of the backfield, Leonard Williams, in the hands.
He sure did. And Leonard Williams almost made a great catch. Sel Miller is in to punt again for Memphis. He's under heat, but he gets away. A low line drive. Garcia Lane will let it bounce at the 40. Is he going to pick it up? Yes, he is at the 30-yard line, and he is snowed under right there. So the Baltimore Stars will have the football again, but they'll have it inside their 30-yard line at the 28-yard line. Mark Rao, the tight end, number 83, the first man down.
Time of possession. We see it all the time, but again, just let me remind you my feelings. It's what you do with that time.
Well, be advised that the Baltimore Stars, despite their 0-1-1 record, led the USFL in time of possession by far coming into this game. Fusina has done it again. It looks like a walk in the park for him over there to the Memphis 46-yard line. Mossy Cade was there to force him out of bounds. And that is a gain of nearly 6 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 4.
Well, the reason for it is this, the offensive line. Look to the outside. That's Conwell, Joe Conwell, and also Dugan, 71 and 70 on the outside. Sam Clancy can't go anywhere. They're just blocking very well up front.
Never has seen happier moments as a football coach, I can tell you that.
I'd like to know who his hairdresser is.
2nd down and 4. Jeff Rodenberger is into the game. He's the up back for Baltimore, in there for blocking purposes for Kelvin Bryant, who's stuffed for no gain, maybe a yard, but he was hit right at the line of scrimmage. They'll place it near the 45-yard line. Reggie White making the primary tackle on Kelvin as we near the 2-minute mark. And we are going to have the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes left to go in the first half of play. The Baltimore Stars lead the Memphis Showboats 10-0. Paul McGuire and I will be back in the United States Football League. Of course, the college basketball tournament's in full swing as Chuck Fusina is brought down for a huge loss. Back at the Stars, 45-yard line, making the tackle. Leonard Coleman, the rookie out of Vanderbilt.
They ran a corner blitz on the outside. Look at the top side of your screen. Leonard Coleman, there's really no one to block. They were trying to get Calvin Bryant going down the middle, but Leonard Coleman was there along with Sam Clancy.
So Sean Landeta will have to punt again. He gets it off, and Derek Crawford is angling under it, calls for a fair catch. He slides with it at the 24-yard line. So a minute 47 to go in the first half, and the Showboats will have it first and 10.
Well, when you run a safety blitz and they're all in tight and you're using two tight ends, you see, and the play action goes to his right, to the left of the screen, there's no one to look back on his backside to see Leonard Coleman coming in, and there was also no one there to block him, especially when you fake to Calvin Bryant and take him out of the play.
There's a Showboats fan who is, well, not downcast, but would be a bit happier if the Memphis Showboats could get some points on the board before halftime. Their defense, by and large, has played all right when they've been backed up near their goal line. They've allowed only the one touchdown. Walter Lewis is under a rush, and he is dragged down for a big loss by number 96 of the Stars, Don Fielder. The defensive end gets in there, the veteran out of Kentucky.
Don Fielder just ran right by, I think, of Robert Woods. Take a look at Fielder right at the right of your screen. And he's trying to get blocked. That's Smith, excuse me, not Woods, I'm sorry. But Fielder just goes right by Smith, number 61, and makes the play. Walter Lewis is going to take a timeout.
Now, Baltimore Stars called a timeout, Paul. They did not have their defense set for the Showboats, whatever the Memphis Showboats were going to do. So Jim Morris says, I have two timeouts left. Why don't I take Herschel Walker there? Your 1 and 2 runners of all time in the USFL going into its third year. And Walter Lewis of Memphis, a quarterback, is 8th in the Eastern Conference rushing stats. Passing, Walter Lewis is the number 1 rated quarterback. Tim Reardon, the backup to Chuck Fusina, is the 2nd rated quarterback in the Eastern Conference. Robbie Mahfouz of Jacksonville is 3rd. Doug Flutie of the Generals 4th. Cliff Stout of Birmingham, and Chuck Fusina is right in the top. And the night he's having tonight, Paul, he ought to move up the ladder.
He's throwing the ball well, and all you got to do is give him time.
Okay, Walter Lewis needs some time. He has a second down at 19 from his own 15. A minute and 34 to go in the first half. They give us to Leonard Williams. And Williams cutting back to the 20, leading me to believe, Paul, that Pepper Rogers wants to stay conservative and just go in with a 10-point deficit at halftime. Sam Mills made the tackle.
This is no time being down 10-0 to get conservative in this football team. And another guy, another timeout.
Baltimore has called a timeout because now, with 3rd and 14, the Showboats most likely will have to punt the ball away one more time, and you never know what's going to happen in that situation.
Well, they're using up their timeouts now. They figure with a minute and 16, and if they're going to try and sit on the ball, they will have to punt it away. But they can, you figure they can run almost all the clock off if they have a running play, because Baltimore cannot take another timeout. We have not heard at all from Greg Moser, number 84.
No.
And you give credit to the coverage, and the man has been covering them is Sutton.
Jonathan Sutton, 6'1", 195-pound cornerback out of New Mexico State. And there's our situation from the Liberty Bowl. A minute 16 to go in the half. You know, this franchise, Paul, that was born last year in the USFL, they came on strong at the end of last season, won a few football games, played well against good teams when they didn't win, ended up 7-11. They open on the road at San Antonio and Jacksonville, 2-0. They've got this town talking, and the fans have shown their support tonight for the near sellout.
They really are, and it's nice when you start a season on the road, your first 2 games, and win both of them, and that brings something back to these fans. And I'll tell you, as the turnovers have done it, they're only down by 10 points.
Of course, they haven't been able to convert on 3rd downs, at least in this first half, and here they have a 3rd and 14 to the Memphis Showboats. Walter Lewis, who not only is an excellent quarterback, but just an excellent all-around athlete and first-class guy as well. Second year out of Alabama. Well,
I'll tell you one other thing. If you're going to take a timeout now and you want him to do anything, and if Walter Lewis goes back and does pass the football here, you better send some people after him, and don't give him all day to throw the ball or decide to run, because it's only 3rd and 14. Walter Lewis can get 14 in a heartbeat.
You saw in that graphic tonight, Walter Lewis has 2 interceptions. He came into this game without an interception in his first 2 games. But I think it's fair to say that this defense that Baltimore throws up at him tonight probably is a better unit than either Jacksonville or San Antonio possesses. Well, we've taken far more than the minute timeout allotted. I don't know what the delay is. Walter Lewis has another chance to come over to the sidelines. Walter Lewis going to call the quarterback draw, and Walter Lewis is just short of the first down. Making a nice nice tackle with Sam Mills. He gets up there to bring Lewis down, I think about a half yard to a yard short, I think. But now where are they going to place the ball? Tom White says, hold everything.
They're going to bring the chains in. It depends on, I don't think he has it. They've got about almost a yard to go for a first down.
Minute 6 remaining on the clock.
They had to get to the 34-yard line, Tom, and they're not there.
Take another look at that Lewis run.
All right, it's a quarterback draw. This is called all the way. He knew that the linebackers are going to fly, so all he does now is get in front of Rubens, the center. Rubens gets a good block downfield on Sam Mills, and then Walter Lewis makes a break, does not get a first down.
Well, Pepper Rogers is not going to punt the ball away. He needs about a yard to go for a first down. It is 4th and 1.
Yes, he is. You bet he's got to.
Well, first of all, he motioned Derek Crawford onto the field. Then I guess when he saw exactly how far he needed to go, he motioned Jim Miller, and the fans are booing, but I think you're right, they should punt the ball away here.
You've got to, because remember one thing, even though the Stars have no more timeouts, if they don't make the first down, the clock stops when you turn the ball over. And the clock stops in the second quarter and the fourth quarter in the last 2 minutes every time there's a first down until they mark the ball and get the chains moved.
Jim Miller in the punt, and Garcia Lane back in single safety as he has been all night on the punt returns at his own 25-yard line.
They'll take the penalty. Run as much off that clock as you can.
Yep, down to 5 seconds to get the punt off.
Oh, I can't believe that.
Well, Miller gets a low snap. Low snap, and Mike Lush was almost in there to block it. Garcia Lane corrals it at the 23. Garcia Lane's got some room up to the 40-yard line, and timeout as the Stars come onto the field after the change of possession. 27 seconds to go in the half here.
Jim Miller almost gets hit. He tries a little acting job, and just take a look at it. They are coming, and that's Lush 27. But look at, he's way out in front. Whoa, somebody else can fly by. No, that's terrible. They weren't even close to you.
Harry Sidney made the tackle for the Showboats on their punt coverage. Memphis 0 for 4 on third down conversions tonight. Okay, let's see what Chuck Fusina and the Stars can do. 27 seconds to go in the half, leading 10-0. Fusina loads the time, dumps it off to Kelvin Bryant. Bryant does the right thing, heads for the out-of-bounds marker. Gain of about 3 yards on the play up to the 43-yard line. And 20 seconds to go in the half. Carlton Rose there to force him out.
Now, what Memphis is doing on the defensive line with a one-back offense, they're using what some people call an eagle defense, and they take their 2 defensive ends instead of playing them out over the tackles on the outside of the offensive tackles. They're moving them down inside the guards to pinch off any running to the inside. Let's see if they do that again. Yeah, there they go. They're doing it now. They got them jammed up in the middle, all 3 players.
Victor Harrison is in there at one wideout spot. Fusina looking for Scott Fitzke and finds him at the Memphis 45-yard line. Timeout after the first down. Remember, inside the 2-minute mark. We take another quick look at Scott Fitzke's catch. 14 seconds left in the half.
See the 3 guys inside, and all they're doing with Eatman and everyone that just jammed him to the inside. Scott Fitzke gets the first down. They're moving.
14 seconds to go in the half. Now the clock starts and the official signal. Fusina to Fitzke. Fitzke out of bounds again. They're nickel and diming him down the field, Paul, and another 10 yards, and Trout will be in field goal range. That's close to a first down.
They've got time for one more play, but it's got to be a one towards the sidelines and not down the middle because it'll take too long. But Scott Fitzke just knows where he's supposed to be on the field. Watch, he's working on Mossy K to the sideline. Now the first move is to break, catch the football, find out where the defender is, and then get out of bounds. Good play. They've got a chance for one more, but it's got to be a quick one to the outside.
All right, now resting on the 37. That's a bit outside David Trout's range. He could use another 10 yards for the Stars. Fusina has his man Fitzke again, and that looks like a walk in the park. He could do it all day. It's down to the 28. We have 4 seconds to go in the half, and here comes David Trout.
Beautiful play, and it's a beautiful call, and Mossy Cade can't afford. He will not give up the touchdown, so he has to play that way. And Fitzke just went down about 6 or 7 yards, got out of bounds, gave maybe that needed yardage that they need. It'll be about a 36-yarder?
Well, a 46-yarder counting to 10 yards of the end zone. Angle right. David Trout missed wide left in his last attempt. Tim Reardon, the holder. That's a beautiful 2-minute drill. Illustration of the 2-minute drill of the Stars offense.
How about the 28-second drill?
Yeah, that's more like it. Trout is into it. The kick is long enough, and the kick is good. At the end of the first half, the Baltimore Stars have run 3 more points up on the board. Our score at halftime from Memphis, the Baltimore Stars 13, the Memphis Showboats nothing.
Mr. Trout and watch Trout. He really pops it. He hit it hard, and David knows. He knew.
So did Tim Bird.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Blocking out in front of him. Everybody's pulling to the left. And they're sitting there waiting on it. George Jameson, I knew I was going to say it one time. Baltimore Stars said that probably one of their better linebackers.
Now the Stars have the second-rated defense overall in the USFL, rather fourth-rated defense and second best against the rush. Walter Lewis going for the air, looking for Greg Moser, and Moser's got it. Greg Moser, the former Houston Gambler, has a Memphis Showboat first down at the Baltimore 30-yard line. Ball that is his first catch of the day. Jonathan Sutton on the coverage.
Jonathan Sutton let Moser get back to his outside. Moser is a position pass route runner. And this time Waller sprints out not far, but enough to get the opening where you can see it. Look at Moser out there. Sutton can't do anything. Moser can't stay in bounds.
I tell you, if he gets his balance right, he's got a touchdown. First and 10 for the Showboats, who have looked like a different club offensively. Walter Lewis really taking charge. The pitch out to Harry Sidney, and a big bull of a fullback. Sidney plows ahead for 4 yards. Mike Johnson brings him down. Harry Sidney did duty in Denver with both the Broncos and later the Denver Gold.
Harry Sidney is your power runner and also your blocker in the backfield.
4 rushes tonight. 11 yards.
You know, you see Walter Lewis throw. You got to remember one thing about Memphis now. They only throw the ball about 18 times a ball game. They do not like to put the ball in the air. Pepper Rogers said, we'd like to run the football at you.
Second down and 5. They give Sidney a 5-yard gain to the Baltimore 25-yard line. The fans in the Chesapeake Bay area must be liking what they saw in the first half. It's the first time they've had to see their team on television this season. Walter Lewis fakes the handoff. Antonio Gibson almost tracks him down, but Lewis breaks it. Look out! Walter Lewis first and goal to the 3-yard line. Mike Johnson has to run him down, and that's what makes Lewis so dangerous.
When you force Walter Lewis, you must keep him contained to the inside. Now here's a bootleg, and you see Walter Lewis coming out. Antonio Gibson, when he misses the tackle, there's really no one until you get downfield to the linebackers that have a chance at him. And Walter Lewis takes it on down to to the 3-yard line, but that's just his running. He's an excellent football player.
Now the 2 wideouts come out of the game for Pepper Rogers' team. Derek Crawford and Greg Moser come out. Gary Shirk is in there at tight end now. They have a very tight formation. First and goal, they mark it at the Baltimore 3. Lewis rolling right. Under a rush. He throws the ball and no good in the end zone. Trying to figure out who the intended receiver was on that play. Leonard Williams was the nearest eligible receiver near the football. Walter Lewis just throwing it out of bounds, or throwing it away. Antonio Gibson.
You know who he threw the ball to?
He threw it to an lineman. Copeland.
He's a linebacker playing at tight end, and they bring him in, and he has to report. But he can play that position. Number 58 is Coakley, a linebacker.
That's right. Well, you knew they'd be bringing in an extra tight end when the 2 wide receivers went out, and we have an injured Baltimore player on the field. We'll be back in a moment. 11:33 left to go in the third quarter. Our score, 13-0 Baltimore. I'm Tom Mees with Paul McGuire. We're in Memphis. Second and goal for the Showboats at the Baltimore Stars 3. The Stars lead at 13-0. Lewis to Leonard Williams, and Williams fights for yardage down to the 1-yard line. I like the effort of Leonard Williams on that play, as he's met by a whole host of interior linemen for the Stars. You name it, they were there. But Williams could have given up on that play, Paul. Instead, he struggled to the 1.
And the linebackers filled. Sam Mills, number 54, is there. But Leonard Williams, you're right. His legs do not stop moving. And when you're going for the end zone, you've only got about 3 yards to go. Let's watch Leonard. And all of a sudden, he thinks he's there, and that hole closes. And Sam Mills is right there, number 54, to close it for him.
It is third and goal at the 1 for the Memphis Showboats. Lewis rolling left. Walter Lewis dives. Touchdown, Memphis. The Baltimore Stars don't like it. They don't think he got in the end zone, but Bill Hardy missed the tackle, and Lewis gets the touchdown.
Individual effort by Walter Lewis. The official was right on the end line. The question is, was Walter Lewis out of bounds, or did he have the touchdown? That is very close. Now remember, The ball must break the plane of the goal line. That's the thing that the officials are looking at. Here comes Walter breaking to the outside. Now Sam Mills, 54, is chasing him. Walter Lewis is there. Does the ball get across? It hits right on the end line. It's a touchdown.
Well, can you reach the ball out like that?
Oh, yes, you can. As long as only the ball has to break the plane. Remember that. Here goes Walter.
And here goes Alan Duncan with the extra point. And the Showboats are on the board in a big way, coming out of the locker room and putting a touchdown on the board. Our score, Baltimore 13, Memphis 7. We'll be back in a moment. Walter Lewis, 5 of 9 for 96 yards, and he heated up on that drive.
Watch for the onside kick here.
Now, Jim Moore has his Baltimore Stars across the way. The Showboat's been on the field for about 30 seconds, but Moore is not sending his team on the field. As we look at Walter Lewis rushing, that's his rushing total. Remember, he was in the top 10 in rushing in the Eastern Conference coming into this game.
Are they questioning that touchdown?
Well, yes, that has to be it. There's Tom White making the
they're questioning the touchdown,
and they're charging Baltimore with a timeout. They're questioning the touchdown. Now, this is the first game involving ESPN where they've been allowed to question an official's call. Let's take a look at that Lewis run for a touchdown again.
Here it comes. Now, the question is the ball over the goal line or is the ball out of bounds when he goes over? Here's Walter Lewis breaking to the outside. Sam Mills is chasing him. And remember, the ball has to break the plane. Now, does that happen? Look where the ball hits. It's in the playing field.
So Jim Morris said, let's take a look at that. I'm challenging it. He was wrong, and he has been assessed a timeout.
Now, you can't challenge anymore.
No, one challenge you have, you're allowed. Jim Moore is quite upset, as Steve Spurrier was last weekend.
Here it comes. Now, Walter Lewis has got to get the ball over the goal line, or touching the goal line. It's got to break the plane. And the question is, on that one, we really can't see whether he goes out. Now this one here, the ball is over, it touches the goal line. Once it does that, it's a touchdown.
But the point I make, Paul, are you able to reach the ball across like that?
Oh, sure.
You are?
Hell yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I've seen it called the other way a few times in that situation, but
as long as that ball breaks the plane, it's all over. It's touchdown.
All right.
Excellent call by the official sitting right there.
So the score remains 13-7. The Baltimore Stars have been charged with a timeout as a penalty for, in the official's viewpoint, being wrong on that call. And the replay seems to substantiate that Walter Lewis was in the end zone. Alan Duncan with the kickoff. And it is Herbert Harris at the 5-yard line. He is cut down very smartly for the Showboats by number 25, Anthony Parker, at the 20-yard line. And Herbert Harris is getting up slowly indeed.
Anthony Parker is a running back, and they once in a while you get a chance to hit somebody and go on defense, and you're going to see number 25 just come in and take his legs out right there. That's called sacrificing your body.
Chuck Fusina and Jim Moore are going to have heavy-hitting defense on their minds when we return to play, as Herbert Harris is still sitting on the ground. 10:39 in the third quarter. Baltimore Stars 13, Memphis Showboats 7. We'll be back in a moment.
Not once did they start at the 20. This is the first time, and it's inside the 20. But look at the number of plays they had to run. They got 8. Only one time did they only have 3 plays.
And that Memphis Showboat defense, you can be sure, is going to be firing off that football. They're an inspired football team. Chuck Fusina back to throw on first down. He has his man, Alan Harvin. Harvin did make the catch, but only for a gain of a yard. Had he caught it the first time through, he may have had a lot more, as Reggie White was rushing Chuck Fusina.
Second time. You got to watch Alan Harvin. He's got to concentrate on catching the football before he starts running. And that time he tried to do the same thing.
Chuck Fusina was under a heavy rush that time, and he let it go.
Reggie White on Irv Eatman. Take a look at it. Reggie White going to the outside. He banks into Alan Harvin. But I'll tell you, he was right there.
I'll tell you, the life of a professional quarterback isn't all glamour. You saw it on that play. And Reggie White can do a little sacking. Let me tell you, University of Tennessee All-American. #1 pick by the Showboats last season. Fusina handing off to Kelvin Bryant. And Bryant dives ahead, but again, only for a gain of a yard or 2 on the play. Mike Whittington, the linebacker, comes up with John Corker to help put Kelvin Bryant down.
Well, Kelvin, that's only 40 yards, but the one catch he made in the first quarter was just magnificent. Now, again, you don't forget about your tight end. He did so much for you to open it up in the first half. And I'm talking about Dunnick, number 80.
Now, Scott Fitzke's in the game now, and we all remember the way he tiptoed down the sidelines there, and those neat sideline patterns. It's 37. This may be his kind of play. Casino over the middle, has his man. Willie Collier has the reception, but it is short of the first down. Collier is dragged down by John Arnaud, number 21.
I can't tell you what a great play that John Arnaud made on that, because Willie Collier, if he gets one more step, there's no one around. Arnaud is there. The blitz is on. Here comes Arnaud right on Willie Collier. Stops a first down.
Landetta to punt. Derek Crawford back in single safety. Good punt by Landetta. Crawford will take it at his 32. Look out, he's got speed. And Derek Crawford fumbles the football, but drops on his own fumble. I want to know one thing. Sean Landetta, the punter, was there to meet him, but why did Derek Crawford run into him? We'll find out later on. 8:25 to go in the third quarter. Baltimore 13, Memphis 7. We'll be back with the Showboat Drive in a moment. I'm Tom Mees with Paul McGuire. It's 1st and 10 for the Showboats in Baltimore Stars territory at the 48 after that punt return by the always dangerous Derek Crawford. The give is to Tim Spencer on first down. Spencer is dragged down after a gain about a yard or two. Sam Mills brought him down. The injured Baltimore Star on that punt return, Mike Johnson, the linebacker number 98 out of Virginia Tech, was injured.
And he's back in the game. He was out for one play. Howard replaced him, and now Johnson's back in the game.
Well, gain of 2 yards for Tim Spencer, who's seeing limited action. He had a problem with his foot, a slight sprain in his foot where he couldn't cut properly, but now he appears to be healthy. They're just breaking him in little by little tonight. Wideouts to each side of the line of scrimmage. Lewis back to pass. Steps up in the pocket. He's going to run with it. Walter Lewis has the first down and a lot more. Look out. Walter Lewis to the 2-yard line. He dove for the goal line. But it's first and goal for the Showboats.
The old three-man rush gets you in trouble sometimes, but Walter Lewis, most quarterbacks, they tell him you'll see him go out and they'll take the old slide, the hook slide, and get out of it. Watch what he does here. When he steps up in the middle, there's no one there. The linebackers are everybody's gone in pass defense, but now watch Walter Lewis. He's got the speed and the athletic ability to just outrun people, but he picks up some great blocks downfield, gets knocked down by Garcia Lane, and Walter Lewis is at the 2-yard line. That's beautiful.
I tell you, Paul, I don't know what Pepper Rogers said to his football team at halftime, but whatever he said, it's darn sure worked. First and goal from the 2. Leonard Williams, the fake. Lewis, touchdown, Showboats, tight end eligible, number 56. David Huffman, the extra tight end, is the touchdown receptor.
That is a great play. That is a great play. What a call down there. You got a bootleg with Walter Lewis coming out.
Way to go, Pepper Rogers. You're a genius. At least it looks that way now.
Oh, yeah. Huffman comes out. Just take a look, and there's nobody there. Mike Lush, 27, is in the backfield. He's a safety. You think this isn't a dream? Now busted. Bango.
You know something? Pepper Rogers told us yesterday that Huffman does a lot of things, include playing a little tight end. How right he was. The extra point is good. With 6:29 to go in the third quarter, the Memphis Showboats have taken the lead. Jim Mora urging his team on. But Pepper Rogers and Walter Lewis, the dynamic duo for the Memphis Showboats. We'll be back in a moment. After the touchdown pass to David Huffman out of Notre Dame, Alan Duncan kicks off for the Memphis Showboats, and Herbert Harris is back there to receive it for the Baltimore Stars. Over his 20 to the 30-yard line. Correction, that is not Herbert Harris. That was Victor Harrison, number 82.
Yeah, he's also a guard. Isn't it great when a guard, Walter Lewis, the little play-action fake, Mike Lush came in, never covered the tight end, who was David Huffman. Here it comes again. You see the fake inside, and that was to Leonard Williams, number 20, and there's nobody there. I mean, just absolutely no one there. What a great feeling.
Well, Huffman reported to the official, but he didn't report to the Baltimore Stars defense, and you can see the great fake by Lewis to Leonard Williams setting that all up. All right, 1st and 10 for the Stars. All of a sudden are reeling because they're down by a point, and Kelvin Bryant goes ahead for maybe a yard or two before Mike Whittington, also out of Notre Dame, puts him down.
When you get a team that's fired up like Memphis is right now, Tom, the Baltimore Stars must come out and do something a little fancier and not run at him. Kelvin Bryant is limping off the field.
With the Collier coming in, also Brian Thomas. Thomas is in for Bryant. Victor Harrison leaves. And that's who Willie Collier is replacing. 2nd down and 8. Ball is on the Baltimore 31.
have the speed that Walter Lewis has. And take a look at it. The blocking is there. He steps up into the pocket. When he sees that, he knows that he has room downfield. Thomas is in front of him. Thomas, don't look back at Chuck. Just go block somebody. Takes that little hook slide. Arnaud is there, but they get the first down. They have to come back and score now.
Something to blunt this momentum of Pepper Rogers and his Memphis Showboat team. Walter Lewis has really provided a spark plug, but this is a veteran Baltimore Star club. A lot of former NFL players on this club, and they've been to the championship game 2 years straight. They're not going to get rattled. Jusina over the middle. The ball was a little bit off target. Looking for Bryant Thomas out of the backfield. Reggie White putting a rush on Chuck Jusina. Reggie's been in Chuck's face a lot of times tonight.
Yeah, and Chuck, I'll tell you, the play calling is not bad because they're trying to hit the shorter men. The tight end's short, the back's coming out of the backfield. This time it's Thomas coming out. The ball is thrown behind, but Reggie White finally is getting off the line of scrimmage, and he's playing over Irv Eatman.
Well, they like to take liberties with the English language down south, and what's wrong with that? They love them boats here in Memphis. Near sellout crowd at the Liberty Bowl. This town is really hopping. Of course, the Memphis State basketball team has got them talking, and now so does Pepper Rogers and the Showboats. Jusina complete to the 49-yard line, but only for a gain of a yard or two. Leonard Coleman on the tackle. And we have a final score from Orlando, and the Birmingham Stallions came on with a rush at Orlando Stadium, Paul McGuire, to beat the Orlando Renegades 34-10.
It was a close game for a while. You got a feeling that Orlando, it's going to take time for Orlando, even though they were a team in Washington for a couple of years, but they've got so many new people, so many things, a brand new coach, they've got to get their systems in, not making excuses. They just got to do some things right.
Third down and 8. Biggest play of the second half for the Baltimore Stars. You've seen it with just the one back in for blocking. He's under a rush. They have a flag on the play. Bryant Thomas has the ball but fumbles it at the 49-yard line, or they're going to call it incomplete. No fumble. They say he never had possession. So the pass is incomplete, but we have a penalty.
Holding! Number 70 on the offense.
Use it.
Holding.
Bill Dugan called for holding. Fourth down, unless, well, incomplete pass. They're going to decline this penalty.
I would think so, and they're going to kick from here.
Mike Whittington, the defensive captain.
You want the ball when you're hot.
Tom White getting a further explanation. Oh, we're going to have a challenge now.
Now, I'll tell you, Memphis is going to challenge the interception or the fumble of the ball. So they're going to look and see if Thomas had possession of the ball when he fumbled the ball because they've got the ball. It's a good time to use it.
Why not? And it's a big difference here because if he had the ball then fumbled it, Memphis gets it 1st and 10 around midfield. Otherwise, with a good punt, they may be backed up well inside their 20.
Pepper said, I want to see it.
Well, he's got a timeout to play with here because Baltimore has already been penalized with a timeout. Tom White taking a stroll down to get on the headset now to the official in the press box who will look at the replay. This is a new innovation by the USFL this year, Paul. What do you think of it so far? Officials have been ruled right every time.
They've been ruled 7 out of 7. So the officials are doing a great job.
Jim Mora anxiously awaiting the decision.
Oops, let's see what happens. We're going to find out now. Come on, Tommy, tell us. Tell everybody. No good?
Stanzas is.
There they go. 8 out of 8.
He's charged a timeout.
8 out of 8 for the officials.
Let's take another look.
All right, now we're going to see if Thomas did, in fact, fumble the football. You've seen it running around. Here's the holding penalty there. Bang. No, if you're looking at it, even from the backside, when you're looking at it, first of all, he didn't catch the ball in the air. It was on the ground, but he was juggling the ball, and you got to have possession of the football. Another very good call for the crack officials.
All right. Sean Landetta in the punt again, and Derek Crawford single safety.
Calipour's done a great job with him this year.
Landetta gets it off from about his own 40. It's a high spiral, and Derek Crawford says, I'm going to fair catch this one, and he does at the 15-yard line. So that play ends up going the Stars' way because the official was right. It was an incomplete pass, and Memphis will have it back at their 15. Walter Lewis been a one-man show tonight and look at how he's had a part in victories last year and so far this year. Those first 5 victories, of course, were last season, Paul, and he's had great games in the first 2 weeks of this year.
Look at a touchdown.
Yeah.
Walter, I'll tell you, the Baltimore Stars must, for the confidence builder for this team, must stop them on this possession and right down here.
First and 10 for the Memphis Showboats at their own 15-yard line. Walter Lewis hands off to Leonard Williams. Got some blocking up to the 20-yard line. You can bet your boots that Sam Mills is involved in that somewhere. Don Fielder, the defensive end of a 96 also.
Tyrone McGriff went all the way to the wall. Uh-oh, we got somebody hurt.
Hope he didn't bump into it. Appears to be a Baltimore player down, or rather a Memphis player down on the field. As soon as we can, it's not Leonard Williams, is it? Number 20, that's Leonard Williams.
It is Leonard Williams.
Now let's hope it's nothing serious. Williams from Western Carolina has had a heck of a season so far.
Now look at the names that Walter Lewis leads. Hunter, Scotty, he lives down there in the, I think he's still down in the Birmingham area, I'm not sure. Joe Namath, Kenny Stabler, Bart Starr. Bart must not have thrown the ball much.
5,690 yards. I think Bart played in an era where the forward pass was not yet in vogue as it is today. They're working on Leonard Coleman's right knee. And that is not an encouraging sign at all. Take another look at that and see how it may have happened, Paul.
Well, they're running a sweep, and they've got 2 wideouts to the right-hand side, and they're going left with it. Sidney's out front. Here comes Williams now. And they're looking at his right leg. It looked like it might have been jammed because whoever hit him on the top kind of jammed his leg into the ground. And he's hurt.
I believe I said Leonard Coleman. Of course, I meant Leonard Williams. 7 rushes, 18 yards tonight, and he is being helped off, and let's hope it's nothing serious. But sometimes some strange things happen when a full moon is in the sky in Memphis.
Notice the hair on my head starting to grow again?
Yeah, I'm gonna move away from you about 5 more feet, Paul. Nothing personal. That's Anthony Parker, number 25, out of Memphis State in the backfield with Harry Sidney. Parker replacing Leonard Williams. Fake to Parker, Lewis rolling right. Has his man, Mark Rao, and Mark Rao drops the football as Sam Mills was on him at the 32. But Rao should have caught that ball.
Oh, no question about it. When you're going well and things are working for you, and that time Walter Lewis rolled out to his right, and Rao is wide open because they're trying to cover him with Sam Mills, the linebacker, number 54. No way was Sam with him, and Rao just dropped the football.
3rd down and 6. Harry Sidney leaves the ball game now. Derek Crawford will be split left. Greg Moser will be split to the top of your screen to the right. Need to get to the 25 for a first down. Lewis back to pass. Steps up and is brought down.
In the grass.
And they're going to call in the grass. He tried futilely to throw that ball forward to save the incompletion, but
almost intercepted, too.
Well, the Baltimore Stars rush was exceptional on that play.
It was, and it's going to come from his right side on the outside. Nobody seemed to block. That's number 27, Mike Lush, wasn't it? Was it Lush?
No, it was Antonio Gibson.
Antonio Gibson, 23?
Yep. So now Jim Miller will be punting from the shadow of his own goal line. He's standing at the 2, Garcia Lane in single safety at the Baltimore Stars 40. Good defensive series, just what Jim Moore's team needed. Miller for the low line drive. Garcia Lane at the 43. Look out, he's dangerous. However, he is corralled at the 43-yard line of Memphis. Nonetheless, after the tackle by Doran Major, it'll be 1st and 10 for the Baltimore Stars on the other guy's side of the field at the Memphis Showboats 43-yard line. We commented a near sellout tonight at the Liberty Bowl. Over 40,000, 41,128 are paid attendance tonight in Memphis, Tennessee. That speaks well for the fans, and now, Paul, they like what they're seeing.
They didn't like the first half.
No.
The thing about it, even the mistakes that Memphis made in the first half, they were only down by 13. 1 touchdown and 2 field goals. And they came back and caught that up. Now being ahead 14-13.
1st and 10 for Baltimore at the 43-yard line of the Showboats. Alan Harmon and Brian Thomas are your running backs. Kelvin Bryant not in there. Busina changes the play at the line of scrimmage and tries to dump it off. And the ball is batted around and intercepted. Intercepted.
see he had some time. It looked for a while he has time, but this time he just tries to dump the ball over, and watch, it's going to be batted down right. Now, that wasn't Clancy, but Clancy knocked him on the ground, Sam Clancy, but the ball pops up, Osborne gets it.
Maybe that's what Chuck Cucina was protesting, that treatment. 1st and 10 for the Showboats in the big turnover at their own 44. Lewis, lots of time. Now he's got to run. And there he goes. Walter Lewis picks up 9 yards into Baltimore territory at the 47. Sam Mills there, along with Mike Johnson.
George Cooper's complaining he was hit from behind.
Let me ask you something. As we look at Walter Lewis's stats, how much complaining goes on a football field down there?
Oh, all the time. You're allowed to complain. Here comes Walter, and look at it. He almost gets trapped back in the backfield by Kugler, but he gets away. Kugler had no chance of catching him. But see, there is the clip, and there was one downfield, and that's what George Cooper was complaining about.
Well, it is 2nd down and 1, and you see the dangerous Walter Lewis. When he's allowed to get out there and ad-lib like that, he is very dangerous, much like Doug Flutie of New Jersey. Here goes Tim Spencer. Spencer's got the 1st down as he rumbles out of bounds inside the Baltimore 45 to the 44. Over there to help chase him out, Jonathan Sutton, number 26.
George Jamison is the man that makes the first tackle on him, I think. And here comes Spencer going to the outside. Jamison is chasing him. But watch this last lick right about now. Good night. That's Jonathan Sutton.
He's a hard hitter.
Well, they love, backs love to do that because the running back is already held up.
And that is the last play of the 3rd quarter. We have come to the end of 3 quarters of exciting football in Memphis. Our score, Memphis 14, Baltimore 13. We'll be back with the 4th quarter in a moment. Welcome back to a rocking Liberty Bowl in Memphis. Memphis leads at 14-13, Paul, but let's take another look at what could be the key play in this ball game.
Well, Ron Osborne, 23. First of all, is going to be the man that bats the ball and also intercepts it. Watch, he hits it, it goes off Kaminsky's back right there where you freeze it. Now look at the hustle by Osborne. Right there, and goes back and makes the interception. That's beautiful.
That sure was. What an effort. Supreme effort by Ron Osborne. It pays off. Memphis Showboats in Baltimore Stars territory. 1st and 10 at the 44. And Memphis has a 1-point lead as we open the 4th period of play. The give is to the running back for the Memphis Showboats. That was number 25, Ricky Porter, and Mike Johnson makes the tackle. 26, Ricky Porter. Take a look at the stats after 3 quarters. Ricky Porter and Harry Sidney, the running backs, but Lewis wants to throw again. It is complete to Greg Moser. He's got a 1st down at the Baltimore 27-yard line. Jonathan Sutton on the coverage.
When you look at Moser, you must look at the concentration of this man. Now, he's got to turn on the ball. He looks a little bit like Blitnikoff, doesn't he? Well, anyway, here he comes. The ball is behind. You see him turn his body back to the ball. Yep. Makes the play. Sutton has no play on it. Total concentration on the football.
One thing he's missing that Freddie Blitnikoff always had plenty of.
Hair.
Stick him.
Oh.
1st and 10 on the 27 for the Showboats. Walter Lewis looking left. Pass to Derek Crawford. Incomplete and almost intercepted by Sam Mills, who had it bounce off of him. Garcia Lane was there on the coverage.
Oh, Sam Mills almost had an interception because that pass was drilled by Walter Lewis to Derek Crawford. Garcia Lane there. The ball pops out. Bounced right off of Sam Mills' shoulder pads.
Good play by Sam Mills to be in the area, to have the opportunity, and a good play by Garcia Lane to get his one hand in there to help bat that ball away. 2nd down and 10. Jim Moore concerned on the sidelines, to say the least. His Stars have yet to gain a victory. Defending champions in the USFL are finding it tough going so far in 85. Lewis changing a play at the line. Gary Shirk, tight end, says, what?
Yeah, what?
Lewis got some time, throwing over the middle for the end zone. Touchdown! Derek Crawford of the Memphis Showboats has put this crowd into a frenzy. It's 20-13 Memphis.
What a great audible. You knew when you said about Gary Shirk listening, there was an audible at the line of scrimmage by Walter Lewis. He read the blitz coming, knew that he had man-and-man coverage with Crawford on the outside on Garcia Lane, and just watch where he puts this ball. And it's right on target. Garcia Lane is there. Lush never gets back. That is a perfect pass. What a reception. Now watch this. Had a little boogie. Boogie!
You know, they don't allow that in some football leagues, but I think that's part of the game. This is an emotional game, as the officials have called a timeout right now. It's an emotional game. It's hard to succeed, and when Crawford beats a guy like Garcia Lane the way he did, it's time to celebrate. We have a man down in the end zone. Let's take another look at the touchdown.
Walter Lewis, and you know, he looks right away to Derek Crawford's side. So he called the audible. He knew the play was coming. Garcia Lane there. Lush never got back. And there is that Garcia Lane down?
Yep,
he fell on his shoulder.
Lane.
And now we get a little of this. Yabba dabba dabba.
So maybe it's apropos for the Baltimore Stars that 13-13 is left in this ball game when the touchdown pass is completed, and Jim Mora is very, very concerned on the sidelines as he sees his punt returner and one of his best people down the end zone. Meanwhile, Leonard Williams is walking out of the stadium on crutches for the Memphis Showboats. Looks like Garcia will be all right, but Leonard Williams is leaving on crutches. And that's got to be a bittersweet tune for the Memphis Showboat fans. Garcia Lane walking off under his own power. There goes Leonard Williams into the locker room, and we wish him the best. And Alan Duncan is on to try the extra point. And Paul, this is a very big extra point. Right now, this is a 7-point game. They do have the 2-point conversion in the USFL, but
which I love.
Which you love, but this puts you up by 8. You make?
That's right. Then you go.
All right. Memphis Showboats, a different team in the second half offensively. Snap is down. Greg Moser holds it, and Alan Duncan boots it with 13-13 left to go. They're blowing the Showboat whistle again in Memphis. Our score, the Memphis Showboats 21, Baltimore Stars 13. Walter Lewis and Derek Crawford have done the trick for the Showboats. They are going crazy at the Liberty Bowl in Memphis as the Showboats' Alan Duncan is set to kick off. We'll get to the kickoff in a moment.
Well, you got to look where Walter Lewis just puts this ball for Derek Crawford. I mean, there's just no chance really for Garcia Lane, even though he had good coverage. But watch it now. You'll see what I'm talking about. When Derek Crawford goes down, he knows he's got one-on-one coverage. Now watch it. Little hitching and back to the inside. Look where Garcia Lane is. He almost gets his hand there, but this is a perfect pass.
It sure was, and it was a perfect catch by the Memphis State grad, Derek Crawford. Alan Duncan out of Tennessee, another volunteer state collegiate product, moves into it. Victor Harrison back at his own goal line. And Duncan really gets into this one. Harrison's a yard deep, and out he comes. Gets a few good blocks, and it's a good return by Harrison over the 30 up to the 32-yard line. Where the tackle is made by David Albright.
3, 3, and 1. That's what you look at, the number of plays in the drive. Go back to your tight end.
Now and again, it was the big turnover, that intercepted pass, the last series that really put the Stars in a hole. 1st and 10, Yusina going to the air, and he has Ken Dunnick, and you must have a direct line to the quarterback, Mr. McGuire, because he did what you said, and he's got a first down.
Well, he's the guy that got things started for you in the first half, Dunnick, the tight end, and he's open. What he's doing, he's running just a little out route about 4 to 5 yards, and when they hit him with that pass, the safety is so far off, he can't really get up on Dunnick, and by the time he makes the turn, he picks up 11 yards, I think, on that play there.
Carlton Rose was credited with the tackle. 1st and 10 for the Stars on their own 44-yard line. Yusina over the middle, Dunnick again, and Dunnick has another 9 yards, and Paul, not only is he open, he is wide open.
Well, that time, he went the opposite way. Instead of breaking to the outside, Dunnick came across the middle. And it's just play a catching game with Dunnick until they finally take those linebackers and the safety and bring him up on Dunnick. If they're going to give that to you, that 8 to 9 yards every time, take it.
Steve Hammond made the tackle, gain of 9 on the pass from Fusina to Dunnick, 2nd and 1. 3 wide outs on this play, but the give is to the remaining back in the backfield. I believe that's Brian Thomas, and he's got the first down. Offensive line wedging out enough yardage. No, correction, that's Alan Harbin. Alan Harbin, number 22, has the first down.
You know, and eventually what it does, it's almost like throwing screen passes or running draws to hold linebackers. When you start throwing to the tight end short, Tom, that means that now the linebackers, whichever side he's on, they have to be conscious of it. And when that happens, you're going to eventually get one-on-one coverage on your wide receivers.
Well, Victor Harrison is out wide left. Double wideouts for the Baltimore Stars. I believe that's Willie Collier out there with him on the left side. Scott Fitzke at the top of the screen. Fusino over the middle. Again to Ken Dunnick. This is reminiscent of the first drive of the ball game. He has it inside the 40 to the 38-yard line. Still loads of time left. 11 minutes.
Tom, you look at a running play, right? If you run a running play on first down, you would like to pick up 6 to 7 yards. That gives you the things that you want to do. They're throwing the ball at Dunnick. First time he caught it, he got a first down. The next time he got 9 yards. This time he got 8 yards. If that play is there, there's no sense in stopping it now.
Well, 9 yards on the play. Second down and 1. Closer to 8 yards.
They'll get him in the flat now.
Steve Hammond made the last tackle on that play. Fusino looking for the sideline. The ball is batted at the line of scrimmage and nearly intercepted. Getting his hands up was Reggie White, number 92, and we have a fight on the field involving number 70, Bill Dugan of the Stars, and Sam Clancy is in a bad mood right about now.
Sam, get your helmet on first. You don't ever fight with their helmet off, because that's when the guy beats your face in. So you can do a lot of things. When you're going to fight, and then when you're really in a fight like that, what you do is you get behind a guy that's maybe a little bit bigger than you are, and then reach over and point at the guy, so if they're going to swing, they hit the guy in front of you and not you.
Good move by Tom White. He called a kind of timeout on his own to cool things off. Kelvin Bryant hasn't seen any action in the second half, primarily because he's on the bench behind one of the assistants there with a sprained ankle. 12 rushes, 41 yards, and his first touchdown ball, but that's a big weapon to take out of your lineup.
You bet it is. And here's the situation now for the Baltimore Stars. This is a 2-down situation. It's 3rd down and about 1.5 yards. And you've got to go on 4th down, because really 3 points won't do you that much good at this point. You're down by 8. You need a touchdown and go for 2.
Without Kelvin Bryant in the lineup, we're going to find out a little bit about the running back depth of the Baltimore Stars. The give is to Brian Thomas. He's got the first down, I believe. If they allow his most forward progress, Leonard Coleman came up to stop him. It all depends where they place it.
I'm sorry, Tommy. If he gets to the 34, he's got the first down, and it looks like they're going to mark it there.
That's one of those discretion calls. They're standing right at the 34.
No, they didn't.
No?
They didn't mark it at the 34.
Tom White's going to have a measurement here.
Here's the offense going out now. Take a look at it. There's Dugan, Oates, Kaminsky, Eatman, and Conwell. And Thomas, it looks like right there that he might have gotten to the... Did he get the first down? Yeah, they did get it. They got it anyway. Okay.
All right, big first down for the Stars. Remember, they're down by 8. Should they score, depending upon how much time is left. Remember, Baltimore is the only team in the league to even attempt a 2-point conversion this year, and they made it.
And they made it. That's right. It's only come up one time so far in two regular season games for all the teams. And Baltimore did it and did make it.
Chuck Fusina having a good night indeed, throwing the football. First and 10 at the Memphis 35-yard line. Fusina, a quick opener over the middle to Willie Collier, and Collier stretches forward to near the 25. I think they're going to mark him closer to the 26. Ron Osborne makes the tackle.
Now, do you see Willie Collier at the end of the play as he reached out? Now, if his knee would have hit, wherever his knee hits or his body hits, that's where the ball stopped. But if the ball, if he still can reach it out that far, they're going to give him that distance.
All right, that's what I was talking about before. Walter Lewis was airborne on his touchdown.
Exactly. Now you're getting it.
All right. Ball is marked just outside the 25-yard line. Second down and short. Fusina's going for the end zone. It is caught at the 5, and out of bounds goes Willie Collier, the third-year man out of the University of Pittsburgh. Mike Thomas on the coverage.
Let me tell you something. You want to see Willie Collier really outruns the football to get to it, but Chuck Fusina hangs the ball up enough. There is a full-scale blitz on. He knew it. He had to dump it. He's throwing, getting out of the way. That's Clancy. But look at Collier going for the ball. He had enough time. Thomas, 49, was there. He really didn't have any choice. He couldn't break the play up. But Collier outran the ball because Fusina gave him enough time by putting it up in the air.
That was a perfectly executed timing pattern. First and goal for the Baltimore Stars at the Memphis 6. Fusina on the play fake. He's got a touchdown. Allen Harvin for the touchdown. And the Baltimore Stars have come back, but hold everything. We have a flag, and
this gets against the Stars. But I'll tell you something. Mr. Thomas, number 30, Bryant Thomas, made a great block because he blocked 2.
Illegal use of the hands. Number 71 on the offense. Replay first down.
Joe Conwell, the guilty party, and Jim Moore is in shock ball. Another ill-timed break against his offensive unit.
Mistakes will kill you. But Bryant Thomas that time, there was a fake to Bryant Thomas. Harvin went out into the flat, caught the touchdown, but it's called back. But Thomas blocked 2 defenders coming in, putting the heat on Chuck Bucina.
So the ball, instead of being at the 6-yard line, is back to the 16-yard line. First and goal at the 16.
Get half of it. Get a play that'll get you half of that.
Alan Harvin, the only setback behind Bucina. They have 3 wideouts plus the tight end going on the pass patterns. Harvin's also out of there. Bucina on the roll on the draw play inside the 10 to the 9-yard line. Intelligent.
Yeah, but you don't tell me draw play.
No, he was running for his life.
You bet. He was back there. He's looking for a receiver. The coverage was excellent by Memphis. And when you see that, as soon as Chuck Bucina sees that, he sees the hole right up the middle. Everybody's clearing out. Now he's going to run. Only wants to get down as far as he can. He gets down to about the 9-yard line, almost to the 8-yard line. But again, he got half of it.
Half he did. It's second down and goal from the 9-yard line. 21-13. Showboats lead it by 8, but the Baltimore Stars are driving. 8 minutes to go in the football game. Bucina going for the end zone. Incomplete.
Pass interference.
Mossy Cade is going to be called for pass interference, I believe, on Scott Fitzke. Or is that Osborne?
Osborne's the one that's complaining. Now, is it him? Is it Coleman? They're all back there.
Yep.
He's throwing the ball out here to Dunnick. I believe it's Dunnick. The ball's laid up in the air. And that is Osborne downfield.
That was Dunnick in the end zone, not Fitzke, the 80 and 81 sometimes.
But remember now, bumping of the body. It was bumping of his body.
And also remember that it is not first and goal on the 1. It is first and goal in this case inside the 5 near the 4-yard line.
Half the distance. If it would have been out in the open field, so we can bring that rule to you, it would have been a 15-yard penalty and not the ball down in the end zone.
Backs in the I formation. Alan Harvin and Brian Thomas. And the give is to Thomas. He is stopped short of the goal line. Leonard Coleman and Ron Osborne make the stop on Thomas.
This Memphis defense is tough. That's why they're number 2. But watch these guys fill now. These are defensive backs that are coming in here. Coleman, 31, is there. Look at the hit. Bang by Coleman. Wow. Osborne, number 23, is also there. That helped at the end. They didn't need all that.
Plays like that are why Leonard Coleman was the number 1 pick of the NFL Colts coming out of Vanderbilt, but he opted for the USFL. Second down and goal. Here's Thomas over the top. He is in there for the touchdown. Brian Thomas scores with 7:03 left to go in the game, and it is 21-19. And now, Jim Mora, what do you do? One or two?
No, there's nothing with it. You just do it. Because first of all, if he doesn't make it, the field goal still wins it by 1 for you. So here you go. Thomas over the top. Watch the offensive line, the surge there. You see Bartos come out. He blocks backside. Mossy Cade almost lost his head because Thomas goes up over the top, and the man he's going to hit is Mossy Cade right boing. Touchdown.
Well, the Stars are going for 2, and that's a good point, Paul. Even if they don't make it, a field goal would still give them the lead. So what do you have to lose here? In this case, nothing.
Yeah, well, here's where you also go. I think you take the 2 wide receivers on there's triple formation, and you throw to the tight end, number 80, Dunnick.
This is for the tie. Bucina is in the grasp of Reggie White, and so the 2-point conversion is no good. The minister of defense read a sermon to Chuck Bucina. 7:03 left to go in the ball game, and they're going wild in Memphis. The Showboats 21, Baltimore Stars 19. We'll be back at a wild scene in Memphis in just a moment. 21-19 our score. Memphis Showboats on top, but the Stars have scored the last touchdown, and David Trout squibs one. Being picked up by an up man at the 15-yard line, and he's got some room up to the 35-yard line. That up man was Mike Johnson, the linebacker number, who's told about Ricky Porter, I believe. We'll take another look at that.
All right, here's Memphis' last 4 possessions, but look where they get the ball. On the 31, on the opposing 48, 44, 15 in there. But now they're changing it around a little bit. They got 8 plays for a touchdown, 3 plays because they went with that long pass, and then 6 plays to a touchdown.
That was Anthony Parker on the kickoff return, running back who was one of the up men, so it's good field position for Walter Lewis. First and 10 at the 35. Lewis coming out, throwing the football. Now he's under a rush. This is where he's at his best. Look at this. Intercepted. No. Oh, my.
Jameson.
Jameson, number 58, George Jameson, almost had one and had some room to run, and we have a flag on the play.
We're going to have roughing the passer, personal foul, on top of all of this.
Yep, that's it.
Walter Lewis, look at him dance. I mean, the man can move it around, and then he thinks he sees an open man. Didn't see Jameson come in. Jameson almost has it. Sidney tried to give him a little shot and knock the ball out of his hand, but on top of all that, there's going to be a 15-yard penalty for roughing the passer.
And it moves the ball all the way up to midfield, and let's listen to Tom White, see who the guilty party was. Well, apparently, we're not going to get a chance to listen to him.
Jameson upset. He's pounding the ground.
First and 10 for Memphis at the 50-yard line. We're going to have to pick out our players of the game. Oh, wait a while for that. This game's still very much in doubt. 6:09 to go. Here's the handoff to Ricky Porter out of the backfield. Gain him about a yard on the play. Porter coming in there for the injured Leonard Williams. Which makes Kugler the nose tackle over there on the tackle. I'm sorry.
What makes that Leonard Williams problem? So he was going in the leading rusher in the league.
Right. 229 yards.
That takes an awful lot of speed out of their backfield.
5.5 minutes to go in the football game. Gain of 1 on the play, second down and 9. Spencer and Porter, the running backs, the pitch out to Spencer. Spencer inside the 50, maybe no gain at all. Looked like he had about a yard or 2.
Oh, Pepper, don't stop doing what got you those 21 points, and that's with Waller running around throwing the football.
Well, in the third quarter, Memphis has been strong coming into the game. 27 points in the third quarter, and tonight you see that Memphis, that's where they turned the game around with 2 touchdowns in the third quarter. We're in the fourth quarter right now, 4:50 left to go. Make it third down and 9. There was no gain on that play. George Cooper made the tackle for Baltimore on that last run. Lewis, deep drop. Now he's going to run again. Here he goes. Scott Werner was after him, and Scott Werner helped bring him down along with George Cooper. And he keeps Lewis from picking up the first down in a punting situation for Memphis.
No, it's very deceiving because on the stats, we've got Walter Lewis 8 out of 14 for 139 yards.
Yeah.
But look at the times he's rushed, and all but one of those, he was forced out of the pocket to rush. So actually, they were only still going to throw, 20 passes.
Right. So that, again, there's an instance where a stat doesn't always tell the truth. Well, Scott Werner standing back at his 10-yard line. I have a double safety on this time. Jim Miller, remember, Miller coming into this game, Paul, had put 4 punts in the first 2 games out inside the 20, so he's very adept at this.
Yeah, I'll tell you something else. There may be, with Garcia Lane back there may be some type of reverse off a punt.
Scott Werner is back there, and Garcia Lane, he punts it towards Lane. Lane won't have a chance. This thing's going out of bounds, and we'll have to wait and see where the official marks it. There's a flag on the play.
Flag outside the 37-yard line, Tom.
Well, the 21-yard line is where the official says it went out, but you're right, the flag is at the 37.
Ineligible lineman on the kicking team, downfield.
Well, now, if you're Baltimore, do you have him kick it over again? You got the ball at the 21-yard line.
I would take the ball at the 21-yard line, but I'm also not coaching.
Well, let's see what's going to happen here. We have players milling about the field.
You have the ball. You don't want to take a chance on something happening and one of your players make a mistake.
That's what Jim Moore is going to do. He's going to listen to your advice and take it first and 10 at the 21. 3:42 left to go. Memphis 21, Baltimore 19. We'll be back in just a moment. Don't miss that USFL game Monday night in Tempe, Arizona. We'll find out if Doug Williams and Arizona Outlaws can rebound from a tough loss last weekend weekend in San Antonio, and Jacksonville will be trying to do the same. They lost to the Showboats last Monday night. All right, this could be the critical drive of the ball game. Chuck Cusina on first down for Baltimore. Throws on the run, incomplete. At the 25 or 26-yard line, Willie Collier was the intended receiver on the play. Mike Whittington dropping back in coverage for the Showboats. Remember now that each team has been penalized a timeout because they challenged an official's call. They went to the videotape, found out the referees were right. So instead of the full complement of 3 timeouts, Baltimore and Memphis each only have 2 timeouts. In a 2-point game, that could become critical. Second down and 10 at the 21. The crowd is in a frenzy here in Memphis. Cusina has to scramble. He has his man at the 22-yard line up to the 25-yard line. And that man out of the backfield is Alan Hartman. Mike Whittington, again, has been a busy man tonight. Stops him about 5 yards short of the first down.
And what they're still trying to do is they're doubling back on the outside. They're trying to double the 2 wide receivers, which is Scott Fitzke and Willie Collier. And they're going to cover the tight end, who is Dunnick, with a linebacker. So you go back to Dunnick.
Scott Fitzke, Willie Collier, and Victor Harrison. 3 wideouts on this play. 3rd and 5. Chuck Cusina, plenty of time over the middle, and it is complete for the first down. And there is that man again, Scott Fitzke, who was so instrumental at the end of the first half. John Arnaud on the tackle.
Scott Fitzke, is he tough? Watch the move that he makes now. He's getting double coverage on the outside. That's Arnaud short, and is that Mossy Cade long? It certainly is, and he just gets right between them.
First and 10 for Baltimore at the 43-yard line. Remember, Stars trail by only 2, and David Trout kicked a 46-yarder earlier tonight. Over the middle to Dunnick, the tight end. He's got it at midfield. And Steve Hammond on the call. Second down coming up. And the 2-minute warning is upon us here in Memphis. What a game we have for you tonight. Memphis Showboats 21, Baltimore Stars 19. Back in a moment. Jim Mora, worried head coach on the sidelines of the Baltimore Stars. You think being a head football coach is all fun?
Not tonight, it isn't.
Second down and 4. Cusina's got a man deep. It is incomplete. He was looking for Fitzke at the 20-yard line, and back was Scott Fitzke with Mossy Cade. But Paul, that ball was catchable.
Mossy Cade came out of Texas, sat out a year, I guess. Mossy Cade is going to be a fine corner man. Watch Mossy Cade now trying to catch up. Sees Scott Fitzke looking as soon as he sees him looking, but that ball hits Fitzke in the hands and then in the head with the ball. Mossy Cade just got his hand up.
They're down and 4 now. 1:54 to go. Memphis with a 2-point lead. Everybody going out for the Baltimore Stars. It is incomplete to Fitzke again at the 30 or make it 41-yard line. That would have been a first down, and now it's decision time for Jim Mora. Mossy Cade again on the coverage.
Yeah, but is this holding? Take a look at. Here comes Scott Fitzke working on Mossy Cade. He goes to the outside. He's got his hands all over. You think this isn't holding? And there's an official standing right there. He's pulling his arm back. That's ridiculous.
Yes.
Now there's the one where you could use that call. See the replay, and you'd have won it.
This is the game for the Baltimore Stars. It has reached this point, 4th down and 4. They need a first down. Cusina's got to run. Look out. Reggie White, the Minister of Defense, may have put the death knell on the Baltimore Stars. A big sack for the former Tennessee All-American back at the 36-yard line.
And Chuck Cusina did it again. He ran out in to Reggie White. Just take a look at it. Look to your right of your screen. Now there's the pump. He goes back out into Reggie White. Irv Eatman had Reggie White blocked at the line of scrimmage, but when you run into him, he's so big and so strong and so fast.
Well, Pepper Rogers got to be feeling good about things. Don't forget the Baltimore Stars still have 2 timeouts. Memphis with the ball after that sack now on the Baltimore 36-yard line. A field goal would just about put this game out of reach. Mike Johnson makes the hit. And tempers are flaring. And there's Reggie White. He's an ordained minister. That's why they call him the minister of defense. And up on the scoreboard, Paul, after that sack, that big sign said, "Amen, Reggie."
Tyrone McGriff said, "Hey, look it, I'm not fighting."
Not me.
68, Tyrone.
Stadium clock to 1 minute and 30 seconds.
All right, 4 seconds. Somehow we're lost in the stadium clock. It says 1:26 as Sam Mills chats with Jim Mora. This is when the Baltimore Stars need a turnover to have a chance to come back and win this thing. 2nd down and 10 coming up.
See, it really makes you got the championship team here, the Baltimore Stars, who were the Philadelphia Stars. And there's old Pepper. Say, wait, we're going to field goal. We're not going to go for field goal. We are going to go for a field goal. We're talking about that. But you've got a team here that's going to could come out of this game 2-1, no victories. They're defending champions.
And they got to play New Jersey in their home opener next week. Going to be a tough road to hoe. Here's the handoff for negligible yardage to Harry Sidney. Mike Johnson wraps him up. Clock is now corrected, shows 1:23 to go, and a timeout has been called by the Baltimore Stars, and we'll take timeout. But a minute and a half to go, or a minute 23 to go. Memphis leads it by 2 on ESPN.
3rd down.
1 minute, 23 seconds left in the ball game, and you see the frustration on the face of Baltimore Stars quarterback Chuck Fusina. Paul, he's seen nothing but success here in the USFL, but his team still hasn't won a game.
And I think we saw Pepper saying on the sideline, no matter what happens here, we're not going to try a field goal. We're just going to run the clock down. Now get the clock started here.
Reason for that is the Stars are out of timeouts. They're in a predicament. Walter Lewis going to keep it himself. Looked like a design running play, and Lewis is knocked down inside the 30, short of the 1st down.
Now what they've got to do is get the ball marked, because the 30-second clock doesn't start until it does, and there's time running off the field. Now what you do here is you just run another play, or what you can do is just line up and take off that whole 30 seconds off the clock, which will bring it down to inside something like 30-some-odd seconds. Take the penalty.
Well, that's what they're doing. The clock running. They still have 15 seconds to get the play off. It's beginning to look, with every second, like another Memphis Showboat victory. They'll be at Birmingham next week. They do get the play off just in time, and Lewis is horse-collared. Oh, they're after his head inside the 30 to the 29, and the clock continues to roll.
They're stopping now. They'll have 28 seconds to go with no timeouts. Now remember, they did that in the first half, but they had a little bit better field position. But the Baltimore Stars went all the way down and got a field goal out of it. So now they still have a chance in this ballgame.
If Memphis does win, though, owner William Donovan has to be very, very pleased, as maybe him taking off in his helicopter now. And it also speaks well for the caliber of competition in this league, Paul. The mergers and whatnot have really solidified the talent.
I think so.
All right, no timeouts left. The Stars have to at least get within field goal range, and here's the catch. Fusina has it up to Fitzke, but remember, no timeouts left. The clock is stopped momentarily for the 1st down.
Just till they move the chains, and they'll get it right up on the line of scrimmage. That prevent defense.
Ball will be marked at the 45. You know something?
Prevent defense prevents you from winning sometimes.
Right. I've never liked the prevent defense, and you give him another 20 or 30 yards, and they're in range for David Trout. Fusina got to get rid of it soon, and he fumbles the football but falls back on it. However, the clock continues to roll. They're now stopping it at 12 seconds after the sack. Brett Williams makes the tackle. Oh, that could have been it for sure right there.
Well, he left the pocket again with a 3-man rush. Just stay there.
Fusina got to get rid of it in a hurry. It is complete, but that's the end of the ball game. The Memphis Showboats are 3-0, and the defending champion Baltimore Stars are now 0-2-1, going home to play the New Jersey Generals next Sunday, a week from Sunday, at Byrd Stadium in College Park. With Paul McGuire, they're going to have a party with Pepper Rogers tonight in Memphis. Memphis wins it 21-19. The scene in the locker room with Pepper Rogers, the joyous coach, and his players. Mossy Cade and Pepper Rogers doing high fives in the locker room. One thing you can say about Pepper Rogers, Paul McGuire, he gets involved with his players.
Yeah, he really does. He's a fun coach. He said, we're just going to go out and knock heads with people. We don't do a whole lot of things fancy. And I think the biggest credit has to go to this defense. You know, they held in the first half, only gave up 13 points, and they really did well. In the second half, they did a number.
All right, don't forget Monday Night Live on ESPN. Jacksonville Bulls at the Arizona Outlaws. Kickoff at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific time. Next Saturday on ESPN, a live USFL doubleheader. I'll be in Tampa Bay for the game between the Bandits and the Arizona Outlaws. And then next Saturday night from the LA Coliseum, Steve Young and the LA Express going against the San Antonio Gunslingers. Paul McGuire, it's been a pleasure working with you tonight, and a pleasure, I know, with these Showboat fans in Memphis.
Yeah, you think this isn't a great pass and catch? Derek Crawford. Walter Lewis is tremendous.
Tremendous athlete, and the Memphis Showboats have a tremendous record. The fireworks are popping tonight in Memphis, Tennessee. Our final score, the Memphis Showboats 21, the Baltimore Stars 19. For Paul McGuire, I'm Tom Mees. So long from Memphis, Tennessee.